And we are live right now. We are live.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
If you want to introduce yourself to everybody,
My name is Justin Renard Lewis. I'm Joe's uncle.
hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, this is like the first one of the year, and I'm trying to get back to how it goes here.
You got to get back in the swing of things, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. That's for sure. All right, so Uncle Justin. So the topics of discussion is let's just talk about life. Let's talk about, let's
That's
talk
probably the best
about,
thing to talk about is life.
yeah. Let's talk about Uncle Justin 20 years ago.
20 years ago, I was what was that? 2010. I was married,
That
happily married, just getting along with life, just trying to provide a better living for my family.
okay. Well, that was 12 years ago.
12 years ago. I'm sorry, I can't even count no more. Huh?
All right,
So
so
we're
that's in
talking about
2010.
2000, 2001. That's what we're
Right.
talking about.
Yeah.
I was a few years removed from the military. I was struggling with some issues. Was trying to find my way, pretty
Okay.
much. Basically, I was working though, working
Yeah.
for a trucking company at that time,
Okay.
logging a lot of hours, and just trying to find my way in civilian world and civilian life.
Is it a difference like when you become, transitioning from like being a soldier to becoming a civilian?
No, it's a big difference. In the military, you're always held accountable. You know when to be, where to be. You always had a purpose. You know, we didn't let things fester. There was no grudges. If there was
Hmm.
something wrong, if you made a mistake, we checked it on the spot, and there was no ill will.
Okay.
We'll get together. And when you come out here to become a civilian, it's not like that. People are not accountable. They kind of do what they want to do, even at jobs.
Yeah.
And there's just no accountability. So, you show up to places, you're 15 minutes early, they look at you like you're crazy. You work hard because that's what you've done in the military,
Yeah.
and they're telling you to slow down, or they don't want to be around you because you're making them look bad. And you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about, I'm here to do a job. So it's a big difference. You always feel like
Wow.
you never fit in. So it's you struggle. So
Yeah.
most soldiers or most guys I work with or left the military, we take jobs like loaner jobs, truck driving jobs, or where we don't have to work with a lot of people.
Right.
So because just fitting in with people, and you come from that standard, and then you come somewhere else where they don't have the standard, you'll never fit in. And
Yeah.
you don't want to fit in because you have a code that you live by, and
Yeah.
it's been ingrained in you. I went in when I was 17, and I got out when I was 28. So that's a whole span, what was going on, and to be ingrained almost 11 years of my life. So
Yeah.
it's very different when you get out.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to when you were 17. What made like why did you decide to join the military?
Well, I mean, I really decided. I was at a friend. They call him Justice. He was Craig Weiss. He went into the Marines,
Hmm.
and he was killed in the bombing of Beirut. And he always took time out to talk to the younger guys on the block, tell you to get your head straight and all this. He always took time through the football with us. So at that point, when he died in that, I felt like, I owed something to my country. And I just kind of wanted to avenge his death. And it was just an honorable thing that he did.
Yeah.
So at that point, I might have been 13 or 14. I wanted to go into the military. I want to go to the Marines first, but
Yeah.
your grandma wasn't having that. So,
Right.
and then things that were going on in New York. New York was not, we was in the suburbs, but still, the city was just an earshot away.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs, a lot of uncertainty. The crack era was coming up, and you
Hmm.
just felt that this calling is greater than you, and you had to do something better.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you first, because I don't know how. All right. So the first process, what was your first stop once you joined the military? How was it like? How they, did they try to break you at first,
Oh yeah,
or
well, I mean, first you go to MEPS. I enlisted right after my 17th birthday, so
yeah?
1987. So right after my 17th birthday, you get sworn in. I what you call delayed entry. So I still
Hmm.
had to wait, until I graduated that following summer. So
Okay.
you still go once a month, like you're in the reserves. a couple of days, towards before you get ready to go in. And you get there, it's a shock. I mean, first you get there, you're in process for 4 days. They teach you how to march, to cut all your hair off,
Mm-hmm.
and then back in that era, it was pretty rough. And then you go to your battery, and that's when they call it 0 week. That's when they try to break you.
Yeah.
And when I went, I was in August of 1988, and it was like 100 degrees in Fort Sill. So
Mm-hmm.
at first we were just filling sandbags, and we were just, they were drill sergeants were just standing over top of us, and they were just seeing what you were made of. Who could they break?
Yeah.
They knew where you're from. They knew everything behind, your story, and they really got funky with you back then. A lot of stuff that they did back then they can't do now.
Right.
And I kind of attribute to a lot of politics, but back then they were trying to make you and mold you into a man, which was, some things you see that are lacking today.
Yeah.
And that caused for them to get real funky with you, get in your face, tell you some things that you didn't like,
Yeah.
and dared you to be better. And the words that they weren't pretty, they were short of sugar.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys became men. A lot of
Yeah.
guys from the deep South, New York,
Yeah.
and at that point, there was a lot of African Americans in. Half of my units were African Americans. So they were
Yeah.
trying to do the same thing that I was, make a better life. And when I went into the service, like I said, again, there wasn't a lot of sugarcoating. It
Yeah.
was, hey, they got in your ass. And I don't know if y'all have seen the movie Full Metal Jacket. Those basic training scenes are very, very real.
Yeah.
It's not acting. They're very real. And, some people now might call that sadistic, but that helped me become a man. I had another man had to get in my face and kind of let me know what it was. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you do that, it's not pretty. It's
Yeah.
not a pretty thing like they want today. It's just not that.
Yeah.
And, I have no regrets. Yeah, it was very tough, but I have no regrets.
So do you think that that's necessary? You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for, because if you're a teenage man, that's kind of like when, you're not really listening to adults. You're trying to find your own way and your own
And,
path.
let's keep it to men, and particularly African American men.
Yeah.
If they don't have a male figure in their father, yes, as you've seen in prison programs for younger people, they're bringing back that boot camp style.
Yeah.
They're bringing that back, because it's a reason it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't want to hear it, and you don't want people in face, but those
Yeah.
programs, they work. They had a lot of success rates.
Yeah.
So if you don't know where you're going, you don't have no direction. Yeah, you need a little discipline. It's not for everybody,
Yeah.
but there's some guys out there that just don't have a father figure and just lost.
Right.
And I had a father figure. He was all for it, but I was lost in different areas. So that helped guide me into becoming a man.
Okay. Was there like, I guess, was there like men that you connected with, and
Oh
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
oh yeah. To this day, we call ourselves brothers, and
Yeah.
no matter where we are, white, black, green, purple, if the phone call goes up, it goes up. And I'm still committed to working with veterans to this day,
Yeah.
and it's just a brotherhood. That you go through the best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah.
And this white guy might be from Idaho, but he has your back, and you
Yeah.
have his, and there's no questions asked.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a foxhole, you're on duty all night long. You get to know about him. You get to know about somebody on a deeper level that comes from a completely different state than you do.
Yeah.
And again, you face danger, and there's no questions asked about, well, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
You wear the uniform. You just don't care.
Right.
He's in trouble. You come up for his aid. You find it where he's at to get him out of trouble.
Yeah.
So I see a difference in society. We used to be like that. We're not like that anymore. It's you are R, you are D, you are I. It just
Right. I like what you said, where you just, you wear the uniform. That's it.
yeah, that's it.
You know.
And then we had when I was overseas, we had the American patch on our right arm.
Yeah.
So we represented the country. It didn't matter, what clique or group you were. When we were in Germany, we were in Iraq, when we were in all these other places, we had that flag and we wore it with pride.
Yeah. So like, I know that you experienced a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying, like throughout that journey of being overseas. How was it like being in your shoes at the time? Like, how was it for you emotionally, physically, because I'm guessing those weren't the best days.
Germany was okay, but that was cut short by going to Iraq. And
Hmm.
emotionally, I think I was in Iraq for maybe 11 months. Out of that whole
Hmm.
time, I may have slept, besides me being in the hospital, I may have slept 10 hours. It's just you're in enemy territory. You don't know. Suicide bombers, everything is moving. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You're on a constant move. The enemy moves, you move. It's just a little
Hmm.
bit of back and forth. You know, TV says certain days things start at certain days, but I'm here to tell you, that doesn't happen. You
Right.
move close to enemy territory and bullets can fly. A
Yeah.
little bit of harassment fire that happens, artillery fire that happens. So there's a lot of things that are under the books. And
Yeah.
it's nerve wracking. It's takes a lot on you. It changes your life.
Yeah. So when you, I guess, take me back to like the first time you were under enemy fire.
Oh, we got
Because
we got we got ambushed, and Iraqi tanks got on our column, and I don't know how they did it. I guess we were kind of
hmm
like the bait, and they just started lobbing mortar shells. And I think first I was nervous, and then the
yeah,
training kicked in, and then that thing that says that your life flashes in front of your eyes.
yeah,
That happened. You think about, hey, I'm not going to kiss my mom goodbye. I'm not going to say bye to my sisters. And I thought about all the teachers I had. I mean, I could remember their names and their faces
yeah,
just that clear. And it's just and we training kicked in and we turned around and we started firing back and we took care of business. But
yeah,
it lasted a couple hours, and it was after a while you're just in the zone. Your senses become so heightened. But I remember before it happened, everything was dead quiet. You
yeah,
could hear a pin drop,
yeah,
and then just out of nowhere, all hell broke loose.
yeah,
And just as quick as it started, a couple hours later, it was over. And the same thing, you could smell the gunpowder, you could smell body, you could smell everything. It's just your senses are so heightened
yeah,
when you come into that type of situation,
yeah,
and you just do what you train. At first, I was scared, but I did what I was trained to do.
yeah. So do you think that's why you certain trainings is required, especially if you're going under? Basically, you can't have pretty training. Is that's
No, I
basically,
mean
you know what I'm saying?
we trained to the point where we could do what we had to do in sleep. We call them fire mission, whatever it was.
Yeah,
We'd be out in California training, and middle of the night. The United States Army just likes to fight at nighttime, and we'd be sleeping. You hear the thing go off, and we just already in our positions. You
mm,
know, we train just that much. Even back in garrison, you're reading, you're simulating, you're reading, you're simulating. Your eyes closed. You're doing things. You just, it's just training after training after training after training.
yeah.
And when the time comes, you might have you get scared a little bit, but it just kicks in.
Wow, that's powerful. I think if like companies like took on that kind of like training, you know, might have better companies. I think that
Yeah,
a lot of things could get better with that particular kind of training. Our politics could probably be better.
yeah.
Um,
Just
yeah,
it's a whole different time, just like after World War II, a lot of the African American men they created NAACP, and it was because
mm,
of their leadership in the service.
yeah,
And a lot of these companies now are trying to take that on, where they're they're collaborating with military leaders, and
yeah,
it's the point. I think it's more the point of accountability.
yeah,
If you take interest in your employee and you hold them accountable, but if they make mistakes and they're correctable mistakes, and you have faith in them, and that builds a better company, that builds a better work environment.
yeah,
And right now, like what you see right now, politics, nobody's accountable.
yeah,
And to me, for them to say they take the same oath that I took, and
yeah,
to watch them do what they're doing in DC is disgusting to me.
yeah,
And I don't. You can name anyone on any side. It's
yeah,
just nobody wants to stand up and become a leader because they're afraid of being criticized.
yeah,
Well, all the great leaders got criticized.
yeah,
Nobody wants to do now. Nobody wants to do what's right. And this
yeah,
thing about with vaccines and all that. I
yeah,
mean, okay, you guys are not doctors. Shut up.
yeah.
Okay, you're not doctors. So why do I need a politician to tell me about a shot? I need to
Right.
go to my doctor, and my doctor, particularly for minorities, whatever my doctor says, I'm going with.
Yeah.
I don't care if the governor, he's not a doctor. The president's not a doctor.
Yeah.
And my doctor says this is what you need, that's what I'm going with. I don't care what they're saying in DC or Florida or whatever. If
Yeah.
my doctor says, hey, Justin, you need this,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I think would you say that right now a lot of times people don't know who to listen to, who to trust, because it's one day it's I'm bringing up examples,
Yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah.
Because it's on both sides. You just don't know which way,
Well, yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go back to it.
Yeah.
If you have insurance and you have a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
that's who you listen to. That is
Yeah.
somebody that is a profession or expert at what they do, not
Right.
these guys up here.
Mm-hmm.
Not these. I mean, it's to me, it's just cut and dry.
Yeah.
I listen to an expert in that field. Doesn't matter what it is. You
Right.
know, why would I go to a lawyer for medical advice? I
Right.
wouldn't do that. And the people that are falling into this stuff, that's what they're doing. How did
Yeah.
this guy? He's a lawyer or he's whatever he was in his private life. He's not in in the medical field. He's not treating people. So what would
Right.
he know? And
Right.
these people are overriding the experts.
Yeah.
And that's where we find ourselves. A lot of unnecessary deaths, a lot of unnecessary sickness. You know,
Yeah.
we as a community, we knew, even to have insurance, we had community doctors. We had all these
Right.
people that would come out, give shots. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we eradicated measles,
Right.
polio. Everybody rolled their sleeve up and nobody said nothing about it.
Yeah.
Now this garbage is taking lives.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's sad.
Yeah.
You want to do something for the country. Hey, sometimes those people in DC or wherever your state capital is, they're not the best thing for this country.
Yeah.
Your people in your community that know what's going on, they are.
Right. And that's why I think we need to come back to it, because a lot of times I think that what happens in DC really doesn't reflect what's actually happening in the country at
Right,
all,
right.
because a lot of people, you know, it's just different on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of politicians, they just get incentivized too much. There's
Yeah,
too much incentives for them.
they try to make a name for themselves,
Yeah.
and you act of speaking against something that really you have no expertise in.
Yeah.
Just because, well, this guy said it, so I'm gonna go against it. That's
Right.
stupid. Where's your
Right.
ideas at? Where's your ideas at? That's what this country was founded on. We debated ideas. We
Yeah.
didn't debate your party. We debated ideas, and you just don't see that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, the Democrats do something, Republicans, and just say, "Well, no." Okay, why did you say no?
Right.
Why did you say no? If you have a better argument, then let me hear it.
Right.
Just don't say no to say no. Well, we don't like that. Okay, break it down to the American people why you said no.
That's
And if
right.
you got a better argument, then hey, let's go with it.
Yeah.
The same thing on the other side. Well, we just gonna say no. Well, no. Well, let me explain to me why you said no.
Right.
And that part of it does affect us on the ground because there's
Mm-hmm.
certain dollars that are allocated to certain
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
So that money gets held up. And
Mm-hmm.
what the everyday person doesn't know, which there's a lot of money in DC that hasn't been spent yet. So when
Oh
they
yeah.
say this lie, we don't have money, that's a lie because this program's from 30 years ago that you didn't pay for.
Yeah.
It's still sitting in the Treasury Department. So, you have to really research. And this country used to do things on research. We don't do that no more.
Right.
The first idiot that comes up and says something, we believe him.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. I think that what happens is, because we have social media, because we have phones, because we have all these things that we can interact and we can basically let our opinions be known to the public. Everybody's choosing sides. Everybody's like, oh well, I
Man,
kind of like that. But the thing is, there's an algorithm that's only going to show you what you
well, yep,
believe.
yep.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
well,
Yeah.
and algorithm of research, just
Yeah.
like the certain amount of cigarettes is going to hurt a certain community. Well, they know
Right.
that they research that.
Right.
Computers or whatever, they're going to hurt a certain demographic of people. They know
Yeah.
that already.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you have to stop taking things on the surface level and understand these people put these things out here and they research everything and
Yeah.
then they release it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to bite on this, you're going to bite on that, and then they do more research.
Right.
And so these things are thought out.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say they're conspiracy theories. No, it's called research, and
Right.
it's been proven the fact that certain things hurt certain communities.
Right.
We're going to make money. Let me get off topic of this. Let's take Coca-Cola for instance, right?
Right.
They know, okay, they make all those sugary drinks.
Mm-hmm.
They know they could put half the sugar in that and the drink still tastes better. But what
Right.
they want to do is put half the sugar in another drink to make money off that drink. So they have the sugary drink, they have the half sugar drink, then they come up with another one, zero sugar.
Right.
Then they come up with a diet one. So now you have 4 products.
Yeah.
4 products. It's all been researched. The first one's going to cause diabetes and high blood pressure. And again, it's for a certain demographic. You know that already.
Yeah.
So instead of getting rid of that product, they create 4 products to make money.
That makes sense.
So it's been researched, and like I said, this stuff it's in the paperwork. The devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And this country's gotten out of the devil being in the details.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's about money, but I mean, they know they put these products out here. Hey, McDonald's, they already know brown people run the McDonald's. Well, that food is not good for you.
Yeah.
You know, instead of twice or three times a week, go once a month.
Right.
But it's in the details. There's certain, and then all of a sudden you go to one side of town, and you have all the organic food, you have all the
Yeah.
best beers and wines and all the healthy stuff. Then you
Mm-hmm.
go east of the highway, and you don't have that,
Right.
and that still exists today.
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And it's just weird how I guess our society is kind of like built, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
if you see a Publix, then guess what? You're going to see something else.
no,
You know what I'm saying? If you see a liquor store, then guess what? You're going to see what follows liquor stores. That's just how it works. That's what they say. If you see a McDonald's getting built, then you better build right next to it, because obviously McDonald's sees something,
right.
and
And
so
then
that's
it's just
yeah.
like if the CVS is across the street,
Mm-hmm.
Walgreens is going to be on the other side. So
Right.
Eckerd's or whatever, they bought Eckerd's out, but you see that dynamic.
Right.
If a grocery store is here and a little shopping center, you better believe there's going to be a liquor store in
Right.
that little shopping center. Well, here in Texas, there's going to be a liquor store in that shopping center.
Right.
So these things are thought out. Like you said, they're planned, they're
Mm-hmm.
researched, and I wish the American people would get back to when we had newspapers. They did the same thing. They read about something.
Right.
They didn't look at the headlines. They were on page 6, page 7. But like you said, social media, they don't do that anymore. They just give you the headlines, or when they interview somebody, they catch you in the middle of the interview, or
Right.
when these police shootings or whatever you want to say. Well, rewind the tape from the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened from the beginning to start all this. And it's the same thing when they interview somebody. They take the bits and pieces that are shocking and stunning, and then they
Mm-hmm.
put it out there. And when
Yeah.
you go back and read the article, it's something completely different.
Right. Right. So I don't know if there's any cure for that, because people love it. They like the tidbits. They like to feel angry about certain things. And then when you rewind the tape and you're like, oh well, that kind of was a bad situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all sorts of different components. And what the media outlets have learned is that it sells. So if you are, I don't even know if there's an actual like a really good reporter that's going to report news as it is. You know,
No.
it
Well, yeah,
it
you have to find that. And believe it or not, you have to go back to your local news.
yeah.
Like me, every now and then I check on CNN, but Al Jazeera or World News, where they're
Yeah.
actually getting into. I mean, like, I didn't know about the Detroit thing. I didn't find out about that. It wasn't on CNN on the major network. It was on Al Jazeera English that I saw that maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where they were in
Mhm.
Detroit and years before everybody's, and they were talking about the water conditions and how certain things hadn't happened. And
Yeah.
then, there's the Asian news network where they're actually reporting on real stories that are happening here. I'm like, well, wait a minute. How come that's not on CNN?
Right.
How
Right.
wasn't on MSNBC?
Yeah.
Why do I have to go to a world news network or the BBC, and they actually know what's going on in our communities more than the major networks?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just stunning that you have to get, you have to watch where you get your resources and your facts from.
Right.
You know, I don't trust, like I said, I don't trust those major networks. I'll
Yeah.
flash on something here and there, or when they're doing election count and all that. That's the only thing that's accurate. But the
Yeah.
other stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah. The other day, I think CNN, well, Joe Biden cussed at somebody. I'm like, okay, is that really, we have is that the leading story of the day? I mean, I'm like, yeah, let me turn the channel. I'm like, you want some meat for you want meat and potatoes, and
Yeah.
that's just, I don't know what that was. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so there's 1,000 things going on in different communities,
Yeah.
and that's the leading story that you guys got.
Right.
Nah,
Yeah. It's tough right now, because you definitely want to, like, a lot of times I'll tell my wife something, and then she'll go ahead and like investigate it and find out that what I was saying was false. I was like, oh, okay, well, dang, I was wrong. And I think that people just need to say, hey man, I was wrong about that. It's okay. You
well,
know what
I
I'm saying?
mean,
Because you're just trying to figure out the facts, and what if the source was wrong, but they're pushing it, then you know what I'm saying, once the truth comes out, just say you're wrong and keep it moving. That's it.
And that's the thing. Nobody wants to do that because or their feelings are hurt. Well, you're gonna have hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Trial and error. That's what this country's built on. So you're gonna get some things wrong before you learn how to correct yourself.
Right.
That's just a fact of life. But
Right.
nobody wants to hear that. Everybody's moving 100 miles an hour. They don't want to slow down to get the real facts.
Right.
They think that what they're doing is so busy that they can't slow down, or what they're doing is so better than you, that they don't care about your safety.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know where that mentality has come from.
Yeah.
I remember it. You've been in the streets among drug dealers and all that stuff, but I don't. It's just
Yeah.
something that's different.
Yeah. So okay. So let's say for instance, you're about to get ready to come out of the service, right? So let's go 3 years before you exit out of the service. You know, where are you stationed at? Like, what's going on during that time? And, are you like basically encouraging yourself, like, hey, only got 3 years, only got this amount of time, you know, or at the time, did you think that you were going to remain in the military?
Well, I thought I was going to remain in the military. I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and things in the world started shifting again. And I got an assignment that I really didn't want to go to. That's when I decided to get out.
Yeah.
But before that, I thought that was going to be my career. I was going to retire.
Yeah.
And then when that assignment pulled that in my rank, I was like, maybe it's time for me to find another day job. And plus, I had incurred a lot of injuries also.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of getting there where you kind of wanted to push through it. But the way they were at that time, the medical treatments for the injuries that you got, it's not like it is now.
Yeah.
So, you had to, you moving with broken bones or bones that are healed. You already starting to develop arthritis.
Yeah.
I think I had an incident where, two tanks collided and I fell off one of them. So it was, at that point you felt kind of old, it was like, well, and then when that assignment came up to go to Korea and all that, I was like, well, you know what? That's the only place on earth I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's time for me to find another day job. And I was about 6 months out before I got out. But the other 2 years prior to that, I was like, well, I'm just trying to find a way. I think I was looking for a promotion, trying to move into the officer ranks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited. I was disappointed that my tour in Germany got cut short.
Yeah.
But I was kind of, trying to move forward,
Yeah.
And then you could kind of feel the tension and certain things were shifting. And, so it was like, okay, I'll try to tough it out. And hopefully this assignment doesn't come up. Which I'm praying it doesn't. And it did.
How does the military remain so intact?
Well, it's the leadership. It's the way we were built.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something, let's say I'm a head sergeant, and like I said, I was in combat unit. So let's say if I'm killed or I can't function, whatever it is, then the next guy steps up. So he's in charge. So you're always going to be a leader. That's what they train. They don't train you just to follow. Sooner or later, at least I'm talking about Army units. There are some combat Army units.
Yeah.
So you at one point you're either going to lead or you're going to get out.
Yeah.
So and that's how they stay intact. With frontline units, is they're always training leadership. If this guy's thing gets wipes out, that private that was there, he moves to the front and he takes command. And if you see an unsafe situation, then everybody has the right to call it off. Everybody's a safety officer. So there's some things that they instill in you, and, as far as, it's for the service, for the, what your country and leadership, and, when in charge, be in charge. So it's a whole different world. They have their own set of rules. It's very different from out here. If I'm your supervisor, I'm telling you certain things to do, or you look at me in a certain way, I can have you locked up and put in prison, or I can put you out of the service. So at that time, things might be a little different now. So it's a lot about following instructions and following details.
Okay. And so, like, let's say, for instance, I guess my question would be, like, was there ever something that assignment while you're overseas and you're like, why are we doing this? Or does that happen many times, but you have to just put it out and say, hey, we just got to go ahead and finish the assignment?
Well, it just depends. I mean, sometimes we all bitch and complain.
Yeah.
But if it was unsafe, then we had the right to say, hey, captain, sir, whatever. No, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody killed out here, and
Yeah.
that was different amongst us because, like I said, I was an artillery unit, so we were
Yeah.
all together all the time. So
Yeah.
we did respect the rank, but if the rank stepped out or did something unsafe, we had the right to say, hey, you know what, it ain't gonna happen. Or
Yeah.
we're gonna run you out of here, or just certain things we have to after action review. We're gonna sit down. Everybody's gonna talk about it. They're gonna say, put your true feelings out there. What do you think about what just happened?
Yeah.
If you screw up, it doesn't matter who you are, what your rank is. You did something a line, you did something stupid. We're gonna tell you.
Yeah. That's some accountability. That's some really good, you
Yeah,
know.
I think they have a misnomer that a lot of people on the news and all that, always talking about officers and generals and
Yeah.
captains. It's the non-commissioned officers that really run the show.
Yeah.
And that's a misnomer. It's the sergeants, it's the corporals, it's the staff sergeants, the sergeant majors. They're the ones that do the day-to-day stuff.
Okay.
So most of the time the officers defer to them because they're going to get their opinion because those are seasoned veterans. So that's a misnomer, and the my way or the highway type thing that doesn't work. People don't realize that it's just not really like that. It's
Right.
more of again, I'm speaking for combat units. Those type of people, they don't last long because they're going to make a mistake. So it's more like yeah, you leadership, you follow out the orders, but at
Hmm.
sooner or later you got to get a consensus from your non-commissioned officers. You have to, because an officer can't survive without.
Yeah. Okay. So like when you go over like overseas, right? And I'm just kind of curious. Like I know that they're fighting for one reason. Um and it could be anything. I don't know, because they're in their world, we're over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So like do you think that when they're fighting for a good cause or a bad cause? Like, like
Well, you're talking about the Middle East. They've been fighting since biblical times.
yeah,
Something I think we don't understand. I think that we just like we spent 20 years over in Iraq and Afghanistan, and what strides did we really make?
yeah,
They were already 100 years behind us anyway, and it's not like they believe in some sort of Christianity where we could help them.
yeah,
Like in Europe over there, it's like it's Allah, it's this type of Muslim, that type of Muslim,
yeah,
and they've been doing that since beginning of time.
yeah,
So, and it's never, to me, it seems like it's just never going to stop.
right,
So one thing, we get over there and we think we're going to change these people, and no, we're not. All we can do is stop whatever threat that's over there that's going to come over the seas or whatever.
yeah.
Stop the threat against the oil. I mean, that's all we really can do. As far as us changing minds in places like that, I don't think so.
That's interesting. So do you think that it was worth us going to Afghanistan? Because like, or after the assignment was bin Laden, right? Or the assignment was
Yeah, well, and
yeah,
Taliban and Al Qaeda,
yeah,
that part of it, yes. That part of it, yes. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You had to stop the threat. Yeah,
yeah,
so you have to neutralize the threat. I understand that, but
yeah.
as far as expecting the people to go along with us, no. That's just. I
Like trying
mean,
to rebuild and
well,
trying to do
they're
schools and
very tribal, so they're going to go with the strongest force at the time. They're very
yeah,
tribal and they're very religious, and that's just they're ingrained in that. We're not. So,
right.
how could you, you can coexist, but what change? Like you said, besides stopping the threat,
Hmm.
what changes are you really going to make to that country? As you see, they're still in turmoil already because they're fighting amongst themselves again.
Yeah,
So, and if there's a threat that, it's going to be around the world, like, bin Laden and all that, yeah, we got to go stop that. Yeah.
yeah,
I think that they're going to stay on top of stuff like that, and
yeah,
realize, hey, we're just going to stop whatever this is. And then we got to let these people just do what they're going to do.
yeah. So do you think that with like drones now that it can basically help with the casualties of soldiers? You know what I'm saying? Like, because now you don't necessarily have to hit the ground. You can use the drones to kind of maneuver around.
Well, even you're still going to have manpower on the ground. You're
Hmm.
still going to have to, there's still assets that identify targets. And so you're still going to have that. You can't take that element away. You'll never be able to take that element away,
Okay.
because eyes on the ground sometimes are better than eyes in the sky.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, another question. Okay. So now you're out. Okay. So describe the feeling of being out.
So
Is
it's
it is it kind of like a bittersweet moment? Is it like,
not. I mean, like I said, I wanted to spend my, I wanted to do at least 20 years. So I only did about half of that.
yeah,
And I don't know. I mean, it felt different. It was a little weird because that's all. That's the only thing I ever knew. You
yeah,
know, even going closer to 30, that's the only thing I ever knew. So uh, you never quite. A lot of times I missed it. I missed the
hmm,
brotherhood. I miss just having a purpose. And just I still do. And I do it all over again. But it's just that's a big part of your life.
yeah, yeah,
And there's times you're like, well, I wish I was back there because I knew what we were up against.
yeah,
I knew what our mission was of the day. Even if we BS'd all day long, we still had some type of mission. So we were all together most of the
yeah,
time. So.
yeah. So once you become like a civilian, it's not really like that. People just kind of live from day to day, with no plan, no mission.
Yeah, no
No,
plan, no mission, and it's no accountability. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that they're not good people. I'm not saying that. It's just the level of where you were is different.
yeah. Okay. So I guess that's kind of difficult. It's like trying to bring a team to a championship that don't really want to win a
Yeah,
championship.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
So
mentality is different. Yeah, it's just the
yeah,
mentality.
yeah. So you're trying to carry everybody else along, but it's like, hey, we don't want to. We just want to be left alone. You know,
Basically, yeah.
yeah,
And again, people in their ways. I'm not saying that anybody's way is better than anybody else's. I'm not even saying that. But like I
mm-hmm,
said, you're just on that cusp on a deeper level,
mm-hmm,
and then you come out here and it's like everybody's going 1,000 different ways.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's why a lot, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, in my experience, I think that with military people in business, they're just a lot more tactical. They
Yeah.
have a lot more strategy, and
Yeah.
they won't stop until the mission is complete.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a great mentality to have. Hey,
Well, when you train like that, that's the only thing that you do have. It's
yeah,
just you become a master in logistics. It's just everybody's going to how to be where at a certain time, and all the pieces got to come together. You
yeah,
do this, you do that, and you great at this, you do that. You great at that, you do this.
yeah,
And the whole team comes together. Nobody micromanages. It's just like
right,
you know what you're supposed to do. You've been trained to the hilt, so
yeah,
everybody breaks off and do what they have to do, and then they come back together. Is this done? Is that done? Is that done? If it's not done, then the guy had a problem over here. We all get together and we go over there and make sure that his little piece got done.
yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that's really awesome. Yeah.
I
So
think the best way I can describe that, we used to have what you call battery and battalion runs in the morning. So everybody's not a runner. So
yeah,
what we would do is the guys that were lack back, or had a hard time keeping up. I think we went like 5 miles. We would turn everybody around and go pick them up and encourage them to get back into the formation. If it happened again, we turn everybody around. If
hmm,
it kept happening, you have one guy that would fall back on them and make sure that even though they couldn't keep up, they were still running.
yeah.
And you have a couple of guys that fall back. Hey, come on, man, let's go, let's finish this whole race up and let's just, So that's the perfect way I can explain that. How we
Mm,
used to do that. It's like, hey,
wow.
nobody falls behind, or you don't leave nobody behind. So,
Yeah.
you
Ha-
know,
Has anybody ever like reached out to you and say, "Hey, help us train our employees because or help us to get together to, so that we want to work better together." Because a lot of times in places of business, a lot of people just not working together.
yeah, I mean, a few times I've done that. When I was working with the city of Austin.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have seminars, right? And I've talked to a couple of them. It's just what people are willing to do and how far the business needs help
Yeah.
before they reach out and ask anybody. And
Hmm.
I volunteer for a veterans organization, and we talk to people all the time. They come by and see how we're doing. You
Yeah.
know, and things like that. It just depends on the situation and what the company, what the needs are.
Okay. So like, how do you deal with like from day to day, like the trauma of everything that you've experienced in the past? Like, does it just hit you at one time? Is it like is it something that triggers that happens, or, you know, I guess,
It could be a smell. It could be, for me, it's like fireworks, gunfire is no good for me.
Yeah.
Uh, like I said, diesel smell, burning oil smell. I mean, for a lot, I came from that era, right after Vietnam,
Yeah.
then into the, almost 2000s, where a lot of guys and a lot of soldiers and male and female, we didn't get help. So I was
Yeah.
untreated for like 20 years. One of the reasons why I had to retire early because my health was, it wasn't up to par. And
Yeah.
finally, when the VA started changing, a lot of changes started coming under President Obama.
Yeah.
I was able to reach out and get help, and they were able to receive and give
Yeah.
me the help that I needed. So, I stay in touch with my therapy groups. I reach out to certain, like I said, I volunteer with certain veterans, and just even if they just want somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
for years we didn't have that. Maybe in the 2012, 2013, they just started really treating Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
And they had a class action lawsuit, and they started getting the compensation, everything they deserved. So at that point,
Mm-hmm.
they had to come first.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of sweeping changes over the last maybe 7 or 8 years, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like they started really getting their act together. This VA system here in Austin, Texas, it's a great system. Everybody has their ups and downs, and for a long time, I I didn't get treated there because I didn't like the way they were treating me. So it was very difficult,
Yeah.
and I just shut myself off, got me a pint of liquor to drink so I could go to sleep because I couldn't sleep for most of the time. I couldn't sleep, and I would take me a truck driving job where I had to get up early, really didn't have to deal with nobody, and that made relationships difficult.
Yeah.
Because you always were suppressing, and working. You were young enough to work all the trauma in your head, just keep working. We didn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
As you get older, that doesn't work because stuff starts popping back up in your mind.
Yeah.
And then your body has to release all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, your body and mind has to release it, and then that's when you start coming into stressful situations, drinking. Most veterans, domestic violence situations. I had a couple of them. You
Yeah.
just can't handle that because you haven't been taught that. You've
Yeah.
been taught to do what you would do to fight and then come home. Nobody teaches you how to live and come home.
Mm.
So you have to figure it out on your own. Now they got different programs now. I'm glad to see them. But for me, it was not this. Hey, I didn't want to go to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I was at the Air Force Base here in Austin with all my bags. So it's
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
I play. It's like, wow, what do I do? You know, I still had 6 more months, but
Right.
they was like, well, if you can't go here, you got 6 months to leave. We got to send you somewhere else. We can't have you in the barracks.
Yeah.
So boom, I went on terminal leave, and that's how I ended up in Austin. But it was it's just they don't teach you that. It's just you know, you want to go work, and everybody else is, oh man, they're chilling out. You go to work and your supervisor's, a half hour late, and you say something to them because that's what you were used to, and
Yeah.
everybody's looking at you like, well, you like, you're thinking, hey, you're a leader. You're supposed to be here before everybody else is.
Right.
Because I was a leader. It's like, hey, and people don't take that too
Right.
good. You know,
Yeah. That's
you
right.
go out there and do your job, and you do it. I don't say I do it super fast to show nobody up, but you know, what are you doing back? What do you mean what I'm doing back? I finished my route. what am I supposed to be doing? Other guys
Yeah.
out there, they eating lunch, they're doing all this stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
But it's just things like that. I didn't, I really didn't wasn't really receptive to. It was kind of different for me.
Yeah.
You got lunch, take lunch. What is
Yeah.
lunch? You know what I'm saying? So
So you're saying that so you didn't get but 10 hours of sleep?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're in a combat situation. You nap here, and then one platoon goes out on guard duty or
mm-hmm.
patrol. You know, you don't know. You're listening to see what's happening. If they get into something, or
Mm-hmm.
there was vehicles going through our perimeter, so we didn't know if they had suicide bombers. We didn't know, so you're not really sleeping too good.
Yeah.
I mean, your mind is always, you got your rifle with you. Your mind is always roll out and get ready to do what you have to do. Then
Yeah.
everybody gets up in the morning. If we're expecting an attack, so you go find your fighting position, and that's where
Yeah.
we sit at the break of dawn. So you're really not sleeping.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're laying down, you're closing your eyes for a little bit, but then you got to go out on guard or patrol, and midnight you're out there for 2 or 3 hours. How
Right.
you gonna come back and go to sleep? And then let's say you go out on 12, you come back at 3, where
Yeah.
everybody gets to stand to at 4:30.
Yeah.
So that's when the sun is coming out. So nobody, that's an hour and a half. So you already know you're going to get up.
Yeah.
Then after stand two, you come out of your foxholes or fighting positions. Then it's breakfast.
Yeah.
And then it's mail or formations. What are we going to do today? Well, they
Hmm.
moved over here. The Iraqis moved over there, or whatever it is. And then you might stay in that position. Then you move. Everybody packs up and moves again. So it's it was like that when we were stateside too.
Hmm.
So it was just you trained. That's all you did. You moved. You may have slept a good night. If you did sleep 4 hours, that was a good day.
Mm. And so after you neutralize the threat, then what? Does another threat pop up?
But you still, I mean, you never, you don't know. You still, you get your area that you're supposed to take care of, but then you might move into another area where there's still a threat. So and then those people you don't know. I mean, are they friendly? Are they foe? Do they like us? They
Hmm.
don't like us. What's stopping them from picking up a rifle and shooting at us? You don't know. You know,
Right.
do these Iraqis want to surrender?
Yeah.
You have some hardcore ones that didn't want to surrender. So there's always a threat. Then there's not moving through areas. There's landmines. There's ordnance. The Air Force dropped. Some is exploded. Some is unexploded. A lot of chemicals in the air. So it's just when they
Yeah.
say it's hell, it's hell. I think when I was there until we went to Kuwait, I really didn't see the sun. Matter of fact, Saudi Arabia. It was just that much oil burning and everything in the sky. So it's just
Mm.
it was a lot of carnage.
And what was that for? Like, what was the fight for?
He invaded Kuwait. So the
Okay.
thing was, if he invaded Kuwait, he couldn't invade Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was and Kuwait, they were one of our biggest partners at that time.
Okay. Okay. So and then okay, I got you.
So what
All
could have
right.
stopped him from invading Saudi Arabia next? So,
Okay.
and the United States had a lot of interest in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait at that time also. So to him, it was an old ancestry thing that Kuwait used to be part of Iraq. And again, that's something biblical time stuff.
Yeah.
So he figured that was their ancestral right to uh, acquire Kuwait.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, and then at that point when he does that, that threatens all the pipelines.
Yeah.
So that's a big threat in the area. So you got the United States and the world had no choice but to do something about it.
Now, what does the United States look like 40 years from now? What do you think?
I don't know. Right now, we got the pandemic. We've had a few things that want to make us. We got to look inside ourselves. You know, and right now, I really don't know because if this pandemic doesn't wake people up to look inside themselves, to take care of their neighbor, to take care of their communities, then what will?
Right.
Right now you got the Russians over there massing on the border in Ukraine. Do we have to go through World War III for
So
us to
why
really
what's so
wait?
important about like, Russia getting to Ukraine? Like what's going to happen?
Well, the invasion part. Well, again, it's like the same thing with Saddam and Kuwait. So if they invade Ukraine, what's to stop them from keep going to Eastern Europe like they used to have after World War II? What's to
Mhm.
stop them?
Yeah.
Ukraine. Then what's stopping them from going into Poland? Now
Mhm.
you're Austria. Now you're on the cusp of Germany.
Yeah.
So just like World War II, it's why after the curtain they got pushed back. So the Russians, they lack resources, and the people there are very poor. But does it take that for them to do that and invade Ukraine for us to wake up and find out, have that brotherly love and to do the things we used to do after each war, doing each war? I don't know. Demic is doing. You figure it'd bring people together.
Mhm.
You figure the mass shootings that we've had will bring people together. And now you have the First Amendment people, the Second Amendment people, all these groups. It's like, hey, wait a minute, what happened to the brotherly love? These people just got shot up. And if anything that we can do as far as they want to call it gun control, but common sense gun control. Hey,
Yeah.
parents, if your kids get a gun and the gun's in it, you don't have it locked up, then you need to go to jail. Okay, that's what we're talking about.
That
And
makes total sense.
nobody's talking about taking your guns. Nobody is talking about, hey man, if you have a gun and it gets in the hand of somebody else that it shouldn't be in, you need to be held accountable. But
Right.
everybody else starts, oh no, 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 oh no, 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 who cares? There's too many guns out there for the government to take. There's too many. Let's be real. There's too
Yeah.
many. But you should be accountable. Yeah, you want to hunt, you want to do. Hey, you should be accountable. You should be accountable.
Yeah.
And your gun gets in the hand of somebody else that doesn't match shooting, then you should be accountable.
Right.
That But you can't even talk about that because you're taking our guns. If you're a true tried a law-abiding gun owner, you should want to have something. You should be in the front of the line and say, "Hey, you're right. Y'all need to be accountable. You're right. I do the right thing. Let me teach you how to do the right thing." And we should
Right.
do the right thing if you own a gun.
Yep. That makes sense to me. Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. I think what happened with the guy, I forgot which state it happened with the teenage
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah,
in Michigan, where they actually sat the parents down and said, "Hey, listen, you need to come get your son." And parents said no. And
yeah.
then I
Well, I
think
mean,
that same day,
the
he
parents went to school that day, and they was like, "Well, can you take him home? Because we don't."
right.
But they knew, and the father went and bought the guy a gun, and he was already obsessing over stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that's the first major case that you heard that somebody actually was held accountable like that.
Right.
I mean,
Hmm.
well, there's other cases too, but it's not. It doesn't make the news. Like the shooting in San Bernardino, they
Yeah.
got the guy that sold those people the gun, but you don't hear about it. Those things
Right.
that you should hear, the after effects of the accountability. We want to nab the guy that sold people the guns,
Hmm.
but CNN they only blow up the first bit of story.
Well, do you think that, because I mean, it's a lot more of people just going out and shooting people at random. Like, what do you think that? Because that didn't always happen. I don't think. Is this like something that happens in the 2000s? Did it happen in the
No,
90s?
it
It happened in
didn't. I mean, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s in New York, you knew who had guns. Nobody was bringing a gun to school. I mean, you
right,
knuckled it out. You became a man or a woman. You had beef with somebody. You put these two things to them. If you won, you won. You lost, you lost. Some of those people, we're still good friends today. And some of those people end up becoming best of friends.
yeah,
But this stuff now where you say something to somebody, they got to pull a gun out. That doesn't jive too good with me.
right,
I mean, what is it? Everybody has a bad day, but what's going on in your life so much where you got to end somebody else's life or try to? I,
right,
I've been there. I've been through depression. I've been in jail. I've had bad things happen to me,
yeah,
bad marriages. Never once did I want to pull out a gun and say, well, I'm just going to go in the house and shoot up everybody.
yeah,
You know, if it's a mental health thing, or sometimes this society puts a lot of pressure on people,
yeah,
and sometimes it's up to the individual to push back from that TV and social media and say, you know what, I'm going to take a sabbatical for a little bit and clear my mind. Instead of
yeah,
just taking in all that stuff and just taking it in.
yeah,
The individual they have to be accountable themselves.
yeah,
And that's the way I see it. Everybody's not the same, but
right,
sometimes you have a self-reckoning. Sooner or later, you got to say, hey, you know what? Too much of this is not good.
right. That's the truth. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, the school shootings is like, I had a friend who lost his cousin during a school shooting, and I mean, it's just the way that he explains, just in a second, how one decision, like for him to like stay home one day,
Hmm.
changed his life.
Yeah.
You know, and some people like to, I guess, say that it's video games. I don't know. It's something that should be studied, because for someone to just fantasize of killing random people for no reason,
Well,
that's strange.
and that's part of the video games. Is part of it. Even in a two-parent household,
Hmm.
parents are working to pay the bills, so they're not home like they used to be. So in a single-parent home, that person's probably got to work two jobs. So when
Hmm.
the kid goes home, what is their? If they finish their homework, what is it? Video games or a computer?
Right.
There's nobody not there saying, hey, you know what? Turn that off. You
Yeah.
know what? Come to the table, put that over there.
Yeah.
It's the way this society is built. It's not like that anymore. Back in the day, it was like that. There was always somebody around. Well, even if it was a grandparent, there was
Yeah.
always somebody around. The
Yeah.
extended family. It's not like that anymore.
Hmm. Hmm. So I guess you would say that people are too like consumed with what's going on in their daily lives to reach out
Well,
to their
the,
neighbors.
the world, I mean, I can get deeper. The world has changed. The United States has changed. Let me give you an example. When I graduated high school, you really didn't need a college degree. You could go work at General Motors for 30 years. Your family was cool. Everything was set. If you had a partner, whatever, they could work part-time, full-time, but somebody was home. And the generation before me, it was like that.
Hmm.
You go work in a factory for 20 or 30 years and be set and walk
Yeah.
one salary.
Yeah.
Then coming up to, 2000s, maybe in the 90s, that changed. The manufacturing jobs started going overseas. They
Yeah.
stopped building cars here. Just
Hmm.
about everything that could be exported, imported was imported. So that left a whole generation, especially in Detroit and the Midwest, that left a whole hole in the generations.
Yeah.
So things have changed. So now, either you come out of high school, you either going to the military or you got to go to college. You have to
Yeah.
have some type of piece of paper, a certificate, an associate's degree,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
to get out there and into the workforce. Something to keep your job. As in years in the past, it wasn't like that.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that's competing with jobs nowadays. You have computer systems, you got
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that are developing things that will replace the need to have a human person.
yeah.
But if you replace the human person, where does that dollar go? That's what, it makes no sense to export everything.
Right, and
You know what I'm saying?
this little love hate thing with China is a lie because it's like we
Yeah.
finance China and all them middle class people, and the executives want a penny on a dollar, and they're making more money than we could ever make.
Yeah.
So they won't pay you 18, 19, $20 an hour, to take care of you and your whole family,
Right.
but they'll pay somebody over there 18 cents an hour,
Yeah.
and then whatever they make, half of it goes to the government anyway in China, whatever. So we're funding that. And America's had this problem. They've always wanted cheap or slave labor
Yeah.
and make more money than 5 generations would have. But there's enough for everybody to go around.
Right.
And that's where we have to change in America. Why can't I put the dollar in Joe's pocket?
Yeah.
If I put the dollar in Joe's pocket, Joe's going to be able to turn around and take care of his family. And then maybe one of his sons or daughters will come work for this company. Well, General Motors, they used to be like that.
Yeah.
One family member would go and another one would go, another one would go,
Yeah.
following your dad's or mom's footsteps,
Yeah.
and that's how we were built.
Yeah.
Now well, China makes everything. So,
I mean, China does make everything, the computers, everything.
everything.
So, in essence, you really can't compete here because you have to go to China. You
Yeah,
have to go ahead and get the products. Like, I don't even, there's so many products. Like, everything that I'm probably using is from China. I mean, it's just what it is.
yeah. One time
This,
after World War II, it was Japan or Thailand or
yeah,
Taiwan. Now
yeah,
it's everything is China.
yeah,
So when I see, I don't care who the president is. Oh, we got to do this with China, man. Stop lying.
yeah,
China ain't worried about going to war with us. All they got to do tomorrow is stop all the ships from coming over here, and we be down on our knees. So whoever's
absolutely.
believing that
Yeah,
oh, the
absolutely.
China's that's a lie, man. They're making too much money off us. The worst thing they can ever do is say, okay, we're going to sell the products that we make for y'all to our own people.
Yeah,
Watch what happens to America the next day.
yeah.
They don't have to fire a shot to cripple us. And
Oh,
and
we already crippled.
yeah, and here we are. Well, oh, the China's a threat. Oh, no, they're not. Man, no, they're not. As long as them dollars are flowing in,
Yeah,
you don't hear
China's supreme.
the Chinese leader saying America need to stop this and America need to stop that. You don't
Yeah,
hear him saying anything about America, do you?
yeah. He's got us in. He's got us in his back pocket.
He
He can
don't
do
say
whatever he wants.
anything. He ain't got to say anything.
Yeah,
Biden or Trump can say this. We got to be tough with China. My man Xi Jinping, he's just like, oh yeah, hey,
yeah.
good. They
Raise
just
up
talk.
whoever you
Yeah,
gonna get.
they
Guess
just
what?
yeah, they just gotta let their people hear something. He said, I ain't worried about it. He said, I'm making money hand over foot. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah. I got Nike. I got Jordan. I got all these people. You know what I'm saying? So, you try to say something bad about me. Hey,
He's
you
just
know,
smiling. He like, oh yeah, well, we know we got to deal with the trade, whatever. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything bad about America, the Chinese president. I don't think I've heard him say anything.
yeah,
You don't have to. You know,
yeah,
You're like you said, I got you in the back pocket. So
yeah. I mean, what can you do? You know, because if your relationship falters with China, then so does the whole U.S. economy. Everything goes
yeah,
down.
yeah, because
Walmart,
everything,
everything goes down. It's
everything,
done.
poof, gone.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but that tough talk that they do, come on, man, get off that, man. Y'all know that y'all giving. Come on, man. China, you know, yeah, oh, we got to get tough with China for what? You're making
yeah,
$1 million off them. You got $1 million in your pocket right now from them.
yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
your whole closet's full of clothes. Even the president is made from China. You're talking about getting tough with them for?
But
It's
so
just
if you look at it, so 40 years, I'm going to say, let's do 40 years in a minority family. Yeah, okay, minority family. compared to 40 years from China. Like China has prospered.
Yeah.
The families have suffered. And if we keep on going in the same direction, it's like because we can't build any factories. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You what are we going to build?
Well, the same thing that happened after World War II and all that
Yeah,
here is happening in China.
yeah,
They have a strong middle class because they have all the factories. So
right,
they have, like we used to have a strong middle class. Well,
right.
that's starting to happen over there. They're way ahead of us in green energy,
Mm-hmm.
light rails,
Mm-hmm.
just different type of architecture. They're way ahead of us.
Yeah,
But we're funding that because we get everything made over there.
yeah,
So what happened? The middle class is gone from here, and it's over there.
yeah,
And like I said, China ain't got to say nothing. If China tomorrow says we're going to be a democracy, we're done.
yeah,
We're done. We're done. They don't have to fire a shot. We're going to sell our products to our people. What are we going to do?
yeah.
How are we going to compensate for that?
Can't.
They have a right to say that. Then we become a democracy. Hey, all Nike and everybody. Hey, y'all executives, come over here and live in China. See this middle class that we got. Don't worry about that. We're not a communist anymore. We're gonna flow into democracy.
Yeah,
Come on over here. We got the opportunities. That could happen too.
it could. That's interesting. That's an interesting take. It could happen because if it does happen, then guess what? Everybody's going to start getting on the flight going to China.
Gone.
Yeah,
Gone. I mean, it's just like I said. American people need to open their eyes up.
yeah.
And, like you said, what factories are over here? Some of them are starting to come back. There's certain things that are made in America and
Yeah.
all that. But I think
It's not even in comparison to China. I mean, it's not
when
even.
I don't know
Yeah,
who the president was Reagan or right after Carter. I don't know.
yeah,
But that's when Detroit started. Well, it's cheaper to make the parts in Mexico. It's cheaper to make, to build a similar car in India, for $96 a day. And why would I do that? I could pay Joe, $20 an hour, and Joe's gonna make a good. But and the parts that he makes here in America, I don't ever remember recalls when stuff was built in Detroit like there are now.
yeah.
Because we got regulations here. Well, the
Well,
million
then
dollar
what happens?
right.
What
Well,
happens?
and here's the thing with these corporate executives and all that. Well, there's too many regulations over here. Yeah, but you used to build a product that will last for 30 years.
But look, remember when when it first kicked off, we were short on masks. Guess what? China had all the masks. They didn't want to release it. So that's what happens when you're trying to shortcut and you're trying to nickel and dime everything. It's you're putting everybody else in a position to fail. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
basically.
Because yeah, so shortage happens. So you think that China's just going to bypass their people and just give it to us? No, they're going to make sure that their people are good and then
Yeah.
release.
And then we got idiots over here calling it the China virus and all that. Do you think they like that?
Yeah,
But they say, well, you know what? Yeah, these ships, they're on their way. They might take a 7-day detour, but they're gonna get to where you are.
right.
But if you want to sit there and call it
Yeah,
China, that's their opinion. They're not gonna say anything in the news. They was like, well, you know what? Take that ship and maybe let it stop in Guam for like 7 days, and then
yeah,
send it on over to California.
yeah,
Take a different route. I mean, just simple stuff like that we don't see.
yeah.
And we got these idiots, all this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. And
That's right.
people they'll be like, oh, we ain't got to argue with you. Let that ship sit out there for a little while longer. Oh, now 2 weeks now you can go to California. You'll be
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So
I think that we don't realize just how fragile we are.
and that's the problem. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
like we're just really like a house of cards. So basically, if you take out China out of the equation,
We're
you don't
done.
have products and services,
We're done.
and you don't have any way to pay back whatever financing that we had. That basically will ruin the entire U.S. economy. The dollar would go down, and then pretty much that's it.
Well, think about this, right? Think about this.
Hmm.
Everybody's not vaccinated, but the
Hmm.
United States made sure that they had enough vaccine for everybody in this country. Now, people need to think about that. Where'd that money come from?
Hmm.
Where'd that money come from? Okay. So when push came to shove, they spent the money. There's
Yeah.
more money sitting in the treasury for stuff for communities that they didn't get projects, whatever, or they couldn't agree on the bill. So what do you think that money? They have to allocate that money. Where does it go? It's collecting interest. Well,
Yeah.
people that was upset about Obamacare. Well, how did he pay for that? Off
Yeah.
the money that was sitting in there that you couldn't agree on. He took the interest and paid that.
Yeah.
So, this where we pay, it's there. You got projects and stuff 50, 40 years ago that you didn't finish paying for, or whatever reason, Congress voted next year to cut the
Hmm.
funding off. So the funding was already allocated. So if they cut off half the project the following Congress, where'd the money go?
Yeah.
They got to allocate a
Still
different
there.
batch of money. They have to touch a different amount of funds to do something else.
So
So
where do you think that, like, as far as like the funds go, like, what do you think? I
they're
mean,
sitting,
because it's
they're sitting on them, and they're picked certain projects. I mean, like I said, if they can pay for a vaccine and all these masks for everybody, that tells you something.
yeah,
That tells you that you're right. Some people are not being honest about what's being spent, and they
yeah.
might be doing it for their own interest. Not even in their home state, for
Like,
whatever pharmaceutical company that they got
yeah.
money invested into. They only pass certain bills. It's funny how nobody touches big pharma.
Well, it's funny how when you like look at what everything is being spent on it, you see research and some kind of mountain on a mountain lion and $1.8 billion. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about researching that and doing this? You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you really sit down and do the budget, it's like, what are we doing? Like, you
Yeah,
could
all medical
eradicate
research
poverty. You could
easily,
destroy.
easily.
We could have a city like Dubai or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but we would rather, and this is how I feel about like Congress, and I think that all these problems could be addressed in one meeting.
Yeah,
That's what I really think. But the thing is, they need something to sell. They need a reason of why they need to be there. Because honestly, if they came together and said, "Hey, listen, I like your perspective on that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and knock that out. Well, okay, you got this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go ahead and knock it all out, and then we're done."
yeah. And it's well. Here's the thing: people stay there too long and they get power hungry. I'm gonna give a perfect example. Not Nancy Pelosi's 81 years old, did
Yeah,
19 terms. This is no way in the world.
yeah,
There's no way in the world. She should be with her grandkids. She could be a consultant somewhere. There's nothing she can do for somebody like me. And I'm
yeah,
gonna take it a step level. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat.
yeah,
They've been there that long. As a black man, they only see me as one thing because they were there in segregation.
yeah.
So to them, I'm never gonna have sense.
Right.
They can't sit here and lie to me and tell me, you understand me, that I'm equal to them. No, I'm
Yeah.
not. Because you were there before the segregation and all that. You were there.
Right.
So you, as much as you think you see me, you don't see me that way. Plus, you can't do nothing for my kids at 81 years old.
Yeah.
You can't pass a law that you have to touch base with my kids. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, after a couple of terms, y'all need to go home. I don't care what party you're in.
Right.
You need to go
I'm
home.
I'm with it. Yeah. Because
And that's us for the American people to put a
yeah,
petition out there to whether the community we are, to representative we are. Hey, and I'm sure Republicans and Democrats agree on. Hey, if the president don't do 2 terms, then y'all need to figure out something for that because
guess what? We found out the power lies in Congress. It ain't
yeah,
even with the president.
yeah, his power is limited. If a senator can only do 6 years, 2 terms, that's 12 years.
Yeah.
3 terms, that's 18 years. Come on, that's too much power.
Yeah.
Come on, that's too much power. And like I said, Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, whoever, what side you want to fall on, one thing you got to say to yourself is there's been people that sit up there way too long,
And they're
way
best
too long.
friends.
Yeah,
Let's let
yeah, they act like
they
they're
love it.
enemies, and then they're in a cigar bar in D.C. somewhere
That's right.
laughing at us, thinking we're stupid
Yeah. That's how it
because we're
goes.
arguing amongst each other.
It's entertainment. Yeah, it's entertainment. It keeps them in
And
power.
like you said, and the money keeps getting, the money keeps stockpiling. The money keeps stockpiling because they're not spending it. They're spending for pharmaceuticals. They're spending for this. What about? I mean, this is the first infrastructure bill we'd had. What since Harry Truman? Bridges and stuff are falling apart.
Yeah.
That's enough work to put people back. If somebody's in engineering, somebody's in construction, that's enough work to put these kids to work for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's how damaged this infrastructure in this country is.
Yeah.
If they want to BS around that, pussyfoot around that. Well, you don't want your own people to go to work for 30 years. Those are
Right.
those are jobs that you can't export.
Yeah.
You have to have people on the ground right here to
Yeah.
rebuild bridges, inspect bridges, do all these things here, redo highways,
Yeah. You know how many
power
engineers
grids.
probably can't even find a job because they're not building anything like that? You know,
Say again?
it's tough. Like if you got a degree in like engineering for building stuff, it's kind of hard to find a job if nobody's building anything.
Well, here in Texas, Texas is still growing.
Yeah,
There's still
Texas
places
is
like
growing.
Texas is growing, Colorado, Arizona. So this,
If you're
Albuquerque.
landlocked, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're in New
East Coast, yeah,
York or
East
something
Coast is
like
not.
that, yeah,
Well, besides Georgia,
yeah,
the East Coast is kind of really well. North Carolina's starting to do a little building too. But once you
yeah,
start getting up into Maryland
yeah,
and you already know Delaware and all them places, Pennsylvania, ain't much going on.
right,
So that's why most people are moving from those areas.
yeah,
In the Midwest can be revived again also.
yeah,
There's a lot of land in the Midwest. If you just put factories up, those people depended on those factories.
yeah,
And farmers, whatever you didn't work on a farm, you work in a factory.
yeah.
So and those things are gone now. And this can be a real revitalization of America if we decided we're going to invest in our own people. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what your color is, and
Yeah.
that's just the thing. We don't want to invest in our own government. Don't want to
Yeah.
invest in their people.
Yeah.
And then the private companies also. Well, like you said, they want a nickel and dime. You know, they don't want to pay
It
you
doesn't
nickel.
even make sense because if
Yeah,
I'm
they
making
don't want to pay
billions,
you nickel.
yeah,
But think about all the money they lose on recalls from the stuff that's being made in other countries. Think about the airbags not safe, all the stuff that you get in the mail. It's like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
But they want a nickel and dime it, but they don't want to make sure that you and your family's taken care of. And those
yeah,
are the big executives, and they lie in your face, smile in your face. It's like when you call for a product or you call your phone company and somebody picks up in Indonesia. You're like, man, you got to be kidding me.
yeah. I can't stand that. I
You
really
got to
can't.
be kidding me. You telling me you can't have nobody in the local city pick the phone up?
Yeah, I can't stand that. I really can't. That's something else.
That's something that you don't even have to outsource. You
Yeah.
know,
Try
then
to
you
get it. Try
then
to
you
call
like,
your bank and it's like, oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's
So where you what? Hey, listen, I'm trying to understand, like, it's like that kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense because you're building everybody else around you. Like we could be really great, but now when people have more of a, they're more populated. They have more people.
yeah,
They can do more. We only have a population of around like 300 million. Okay, that's 300.
375. But still, we used to, like I said, 50s and 60s. I understand there's a lot of racism going on. I
Yeah.
understand that, but we were still empowered to go work somewhere where you had longevity. And
Yeah.
it was an empowerment in itself. And it's just now, like I said, what job empowers you?
Yeah.
And then it's just some people, they don't want to have a college degree, and that's fine. So
Hmm.
what can you do for them? You
Right.
know, what hey, people want to work in retail or they want to work in the restaurant business. God bless their heart, man. People just love to do that. So
Yeah.
some of them might not want to take the college route. What can we
Right.
do for them?
Right.
Everybody's not cut from that same cloth, but now you're making everybody cut from that same cloth. You making everybody have to go get some type of certificate or degree or go to the service.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
not many. There's not many streets for the young people to go down. And then
right now the rent is like $1,500, $1,700.
yeah, you
If
can't
you Yeah, if you're working at a retail space, restaurant, or anything like
you
that,
can't afford it.
yeah, you can't. So what
Yeah.
they do now is they rent out per room. And so if you rent out per room, that's how you increase your cash flow. But the thing is, you're creating homelessness. I mean, that's what it is. You create it.
Or tension, because like I said, we've seen some of those
Hmm.
things end up in gun violence.
Yeah.
This person hanging out all night long, you conflict. Well, I ain't got nowhere to go, and then you start butting heads, and
Hmm.
here comes 911. I mean, you're right. That's what you're doing. Where can we empower the young people? You go work at McDonald's or Burger King. You actually competing with somebody that's middle aged that's working there. Well, when we were kids, those are the jobs that you had, and you want to stay there being manager, whatever it was. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Now you have older people working there because they got to come back into the workforce. So
Right.
so where does the young person go to? Where do they say, okay, this is when my mentorship is going to start here? Here or here, or I can go work in the store.
Yeah.
Because remember, that used to be predominantly young people. That's how
Right.
you had your come up.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people are going to realize is, um, because of the dollar really doesn't cover anything anymore. So
No,
inflation is going up, and so what you thought you had, you really don't have. You
yeah.
know, and so if you're older and it's like you want to transition to retire, well, 10 years ago, it was like, oh man, I could probably do some things with $500,000.
Yeah. Now you
Now it's like, what can you do? You can sit down somewhere. That's it.
can't, and like you said, we can't teach young folks how to, like you said, these people that don't want to go to college, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Then maybe there should be something out there to teach them about credit and teach them about, investing or becoming homeowners. Because like you said, the same thing you're going to pay for rent, well, you might as well go buy a home
Yeah.
because you're going to pay the same price.
Yeah.
So let's teach them, okay, they don't want to do that. Let's teach them about ownership.
Right.
Let's teach them about credit. Let's teach them how if they don't do that, they don't know how to hustle up to get a paycheck and keep their credit going right so they can
Right.
make investments, or like you said, buy a home or build on their capital. So,
Yeah.
there's still people that's, even though they go to college, they're smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
So where are those courses at? Where are we empowering these people at to say, okay, this is you like to be in retail or whatever. Let's teach you about entrepreneurship. Let's
Yeah.
teach you about credit.
Yeah.
Let's get you onto this path because we understand that you don't want to go down that path. Everybody
Right.
doesn't want. That's America. You don't have to.
Yeah.
So let's teach you this. You have these skills to be an entrepreneur. You love being around people. You love cooking, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So let's teach you how to be credit and business oriented. So
Yeah.
there's some paths that we can go. And like I said, but when you have the 80-year-olds up there in DC holding on to the money, it's difficult because there's enough money. You could have a good mom and shop pop on every corner.
Yeah.
If the government would help.
Right.
We can't make clothes and stuff here, but we can sell some good food. We might be able to make some good clothes here. We might be able to have a little good mechanic shop. If the government funds a little mechanic shop, help this guy get in business. A little guy that we know we want to take our car to do a few things. But those are going by the wayside. You got to take that car to a dealership.
The whole system is kind of messed up. So basically, if you want to be successful, there's like a book level success. Like, hey, listen, well, when you come to apply for this loan, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a business plan. You're going to have all these documents and all this stuff. When you like look at people who are successful, they started with pennies. With pennies, and they scraped up and they kept on going, and then they turned into to big major companies. So like, shouldn't we, and I understand we have to evaluate everybody's different. The risk level is different. But to try to put everybody in a box, like, hey, this is how you should do it to be successful.
Yeah.
It's just not the case. It's not true.
No, everybody's path is different.
Right.
Like I said, I don't call it, people want to start throwing in socialism and all that. Because these programs were there before they got cut. So I remember, we're all big into sports, and this AAU thing is like a showcase, but you got to have money to get in. Yeah. Well, I remember you go to the rec center and it'd be teams in the rec center and all that. And that's how a lot of guys came up before this stuff came up. Well, the big hogs in the state level, the national level, the community, they took the money away from the programs. Just like the mental health clinics, they took the money away from the programs. Yeah. Now you got to get into big dollar showcase if you're in sports. How's a single mother going to afford to put her kid into a basketball program? That's $3,500. Yeah. When I was a kid, you go down and play for the rec and get in the league for $25. Yeah. They throw you a little shirt and you're as happy as a pig in mud. Yeah. Now it's a big showcase, and it hurts a dynamic of people because it's either they think big or go home. Well, it's not like that. America's never been like that. Yeah. And I take the sports thing, you got these guys coming out of college early and all that. That hurts the community also. Yeah. You have to be thinking education. We used to go get the scholarships because then we were thinking about the education. Basketball or baseball is going to get us education first. Right. It's not like that now. And then if this person can't go to Duke, they're back home on the streets. Right. Instead of being empowered to say, hey, you know what, you can go play basketball overseas in Turkey and be rich too. Yeah. Hey, why don't you go back and get your degree? Right. So, but you have all these snakes and people grabbing at these young folks. Oh, this and that. You're going to make $1 million. This and that. Now they got the name, likeness, and image, whatever. So these guys go and get $1 million contracts, and they're 18 years old. And they spend it all. And you got the snakes all around. The snakes all around and grabbing and grabbing and grabbing. No, one of them said, hey, you know what? Why don't you just get that degree, even if it's just a 2-year degree? Get your certificate. Got something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's everybody's trying to grab what they want to grab, and sometimes these young gentlemen they get caught in the middle of it. And the mentality, like you said, is flipped. When I
Yeah.
was coming up, if you got that scholarship, hey, my life has changed now because I'm gonna commit to 4 years of school
Mm-hmm.
because I know that degree is a lifetime earnings. But now it's everybody just how much money they can get. That's almost like a street mentality.
Yeah.
You know, it is. And as soon as you get it, just like a street mentality, it's gone. They don't
Right.
realize. The guys in college, they signed this name like an image for $2 million. Well, Uncle Sam gonna get about 800,000 of that, and if you don't give that to him, 10 years
Mm-hmm.
from now, you're gonna find yourself looking at a federal charge.
That's
So
where they go.
some
That's
people
where
are
they
not getting. They're not getting the right information.
right.
You're in a higher tax bracket now. You're a millionaire. So you don't have to
Well, they
come
don't understand what it comes with. So let's
right.
say, for instance, you get 2 million. Okay. Now you have to pay the IRS what 800,000 or forty
Something like that,
percent.
42%,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
All right. So then after that, you have to pay your agent. Agent's going to want
25%
200,000.
off the top.
Right. Okay. And all right. Now you think that you got some money left over. Okay. Now your friends, your family wants something.
No, you forgot
Mama got
state
to
tax.
buy.
You forgot
Okay.
state tax.
State tax. Yep.
So now
Now
you're about 58% in the hole already. More than 58%.
you
You're
want to
almost
live in
70%.
LA. You
Yeah,
want to live in LA.
you're almost
LA's
70% out of
nice.
the money. Yep.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
almost 70% because what? 42, what? 25, 42, 25. What are we talking about? 67%?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever your state is. So
Mm-hmm.
you're 7% of that money's already come out your pocket.
It's already gone.
It's already
Yeah.
gone. So
Yeah.
why not? Why not just ride out the plan and get yourself a degree, whether you make it to the
Mm-hmm.
pros or not?
Right.
Stay in school.
Right.
But a lot of these young guys, they don't get that information.
Right.
Then 5 years after out of the league, they file for bankruptcy.
Right. And you can't do anything because your money is moving. They
Yeah,
didn't tell you how to move your money. You're calling up your manager. Hey, man, I want to make this purchase. I want to, such and such just bought this $500,000 vehicle. I want to buy one of those.
and they buy it on credit. They don't buy it outright. See, and
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah,
another
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
They buy it on
yeah.
credit. They don't buy it outright.
Even if you buy it outright, guess what? You just spent $500,000, right? And so now you want to trade it in. How much do you think? Who's going to pay you the same amount that you paid for? Ain't nobody going. Who's going to do it?
Nobody.
Ain't many people that can buy a $500,000
Because
vehicle.
I think once it comes off the parking lot, what is it? It loses 30% as soon as you drive it off the parking lot.
It's gone.
It's gone. So
Yeah.
these investments, like I said, we're a lost country, and if we can get back to community-based programs, and we can get back. Some people want to say socialism. It's not that. Some people just opportunities are not distributed equally. I heard that commercial, and
Yeah.
they're just not. I mean, hey, some people's situation, whether you live in the inner city or whether you live in rural America, you sometimes you just don't have those resources. Sometimes everybody needs a boost,
Right.
and people that take advantage of that, we put too much on the people that cheat the system because it's
Yeah.
very small, very
Yeah.
small. I mean, it's very. Most people take that money and do the right thing with it.
Yeah.
And we don't pay enough emphasis on them. Now we might hear about them. You see it in the person of the year on CNN and all that.
Yeah.
And they should do more of that. Hey, this person started in poverty. They were on welfare, and they used it for the right thing. And
Yeah.
there's more stories like that than there are the people that take advantage of it. And like you
Yeah.
said, they just want to put the people to take advantage of it because it sells.
Yeah. I think that poverty could be eradicated just like that.
Right?
Like the Thanos, just snap, because it, like you said, the money's already there. I think that would help out a lot of single mothers. That would help out
Yeah.
because you're thinking about a single mother. You're thinking about somebody who's struggling to feed their kids and trying to keep up with all the bills. It's very impossible to try to keep up with all these bills
Yeah.
if you don't have something that you're certified in. It's something specialized
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. You, 9 to 5, you can go to a restaurant, you could go to retail, but they're not going to pay you that much.
Mm-mm.
You can try to go to the factory, but the factory, they're going to limit your hours now
Yeah. Yeah.
because
No.
everybody's trying to get with them.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and then you got your kids looking at YouTube and seeing how all these other people are doing it, and
Mhm.
and so now they're feeling like they've been left out. Okay, mom's working, so now the son, he's on the street.
Yeah,
Okay, then he gets involved in a gang. Now you're like, hey son, you got a better life. He doesn't see the future, he just sees right now.
right now, and the easy
Yeah,
way. I mean, it's
right.
that's another mentality that we got to tell these young folks, man. It's gonna be hard. You have to understand it's gonna be hard from Jump Street. There's no easy ways. There's no
Hmm.
shortcuts. You get your mind conditioned to that, then you understand. But as
Yeah.
soon as you start looking for easy way, yeah, you see it on YouTube. They're living this way. They're living like, you're conditioning yourself the wrong way. Quick as you get it, quick as it goes away.
Yeah.
So if you condition yourself, this is a long haul. This is going to be, I'm put some stuff on my back. I'm gonna have to march up that hill.
Hmm.
You got to condition your mind to think like that.
Yeah.
And these kids are just not doing that.
Yeah.
It's an all or nothing mentality, and then that's where a lot of them in the streets. A lot of them, they're floating around. They don't know what to do. They don't have no direction.
Yeah.
And part of that's also the school system. They're going back to teaching career-based things, but for a long time they just teach you to pass some tests at the end of the year that they can get evaluated on. So, what about teaching kids to go to tech school, carpentry,
Yeah.
trades, you know?
Hmm.
So, they're bringing it back, but for a long time they didn't have it.
Right.
Music out of school,
Yeah.
arts out of school.
Yeah.
Now they realize, well, you know what, we got to bring this stuff back.
Right.
So it's I don't even think they have gym in most schools. Either you're playing a sport, but you don't have gym class.
Right.
What happened to gym class?
Right.
It's just
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the future it looks like for the United States, because it's, I think a lot falls on, like, let's say for instance, I'm just naming a few people. Okay, when you start to outsource business, you're hurting your people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you start doing that, you're hurting your own people. Okay.
And when you don't have a social responsibility in your own community, you
Yeah.
know, and that's part of it. When
Hmm.
something happens, where's the big companies that are taking resources out of these communities? What are y'all going to put back? You're taking from us, but you don't want to put nothing back. You don't
Right.
want to condemn certain type of behaviors because you're afraid that you might offend this group. Well, if it's bad, it's just bad. Who
Right.
cares what the NRA says, Walmart employees? Who cares what their board says? If
Right.
somebody did something bad, they just did something bad.
That's
You
it.
can't.
That's all it is.
You got to roll with it. And just what I'm seeing now. Like I said, I'm not going to mention no party name, but all of a sudden, January 6th, it was a tourist thing, and they're putting it down now. But me as a veteran, that's highly offensive.
Yeah.
Because and even other veterans that were in that little garbage, you know better than that. You know better than
Absolutely.
that. You know better than
Absolutely.
that. That Capitol
Yeah.
hasn't been attacked in 150 years. You know better than that. Now you're saying, oh, well, it was this, and oh, you downplaying it. No, there's a lot of people that should be going to prison.
No
Not
doubt. I don't.
prison.
Yeah. I mean.
I
Yeah.
don't care what side are you on. Who
Yeah.
you need to be going to
Right.
prison. And again, people don't want to hear a thing about it. I'm gonna call his name out. Mr. Trump. Well, he was a criminal way before he was president.
Yeah.
And one thing we need to start evaluating, it doesn't matter what party, is content of character.
Yeah.
After the 60s, Martin Luther King got assassinated, the Kennedys, somewhere
Hmm.
along the line, that stopped. Maybe after Reagan, maybe after Bush won, that stopped. Well,
Hmm.
if you had X, Y, and Z, you couldn't run for office.
Yeah.
If you've done X, Y, and Z, even if you were just sued for something bad,
Yeah.
you didn't run for office.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be, it was just, matter of fact, it wasn't even brought up. It was done behind closed doors. Even if you was a Republican, it was done behind closed doors. They said, hey, look here, buddy.
Yeah.
You're going to put bad names staying on the party. It seems like you got sued for doing something. Hey, why don't we'll give you a staff position, but we don't need you to run for this office.
Yeah.
Now it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, that if you have bad character, that does matter.
It's going to affect both parties. That's the thing.
It's going to
Yeah.
affect everybody. It's going to
Yeah.
affect not everybody.
Hmm.
Everybody,
I
and just
agree.
because you don't think a woman is ready to be president, so you vote for this guy. Well, this guy
Hmm.
had been doing stuff for 30, 40 years.
Hmm.
It's an amazing that he didn't even get disqualified by his own party. He should have been.
Yeah.
He should have been. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But this is not about him being a Republican. This is about his character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to put my daughter or my nieces in a room with him.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I can't tell my son to go act like him.
Well, the thing is that, and that's my thing is there's so many different people that I've met that would be really good presidents,
And they get
and they can't.
and they get pushed out.
Right.
Like, like there were some young ones on both sides.
Yeah.
Brother Marco Rubio. Hey, he young guy, let him shine. You
Yeah.
know, Beto O'Rourke, a couple on the other side.
Yeah.
Man, let them get their day.
Yeah.
What does nothing matter what they are. Let them get their day. You know,
Yeah.
they're younger.
I
We need
don't
fresh blood.
necessarily like when when the like a party comes together and say, hey, listen, we've met all of these candidates. We're only gonna rock with this one.
Yeah, I hate it neither. Well, they did that with Hillary Clinton. I'm sitting there like, what was that? You know,
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
what was that? I mean, I'm not saying she's bad. At the time, that candidate was not needed.
Right.
If Obama had his policies, then Biden probably or somebody in that cabinet besides her should have ran to continue his policies to kind of bring things down a little bit. There should have been somebody else. Not everybody knew she was very divisive. Everybody knew that, and it's like I'm sitting there like, well, gee, nobody asked me.
Yeah.
And then you got the other one. It's like, well, gee, what the hell is this? The presidency turned into? If you got to pick the lesser of two evils, that what about the character? What do they stand on the issues? And instead of talking about somebody else, what do you stand on the issues?
Yeah, that's I don't agree with you. Like if even if you have a disagreement with somebody, don't call them a moron.
Yeah,
Don't call them
don't
names.
talk
Listen,
about their family.
you know what I'm
Don't do
saying?
all
Yeah,
that.
don't do all that. It's like, listen, man,
I'm
let's
sorry. I saw
yeah.
that thing with President Trump. And Biden was wrong for doing that. But I understood that if he'd have said something about my son, Biden was a better man than me because I want him to, or my wife, I want to punch him in the face. Because
Yeah.
I remember a time and day where family was off. You want to dig in me? That's fine, man.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you start digging at my kids or my old lady,
That's off limits. I think
that's
that's
off
off
limits.
limits. I think that
Whether they on drugs or
as a
not,
decent human being,
that's off limits.
I think that's off limits. Let's talk about actual facts. Let's sit here and argue our ideas. And you know what I mean? Maybe because honestly, at the end of the day, let's say for me and you are running for the presidency, right? You have different ideas, I have different ideas, but we both have a love for the country. We want the country to do well. If I lose, I'm still going to back you up and say, man, hey man, run the country good. I'm not going to sit there. It's
Yeah, and
our
hold out.
country.
Yeah,
It's our country.
we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I'm a little older. I think one of the last good debates I saw was President Reagan and George Bush. And it was so civil, but they were also talking about social issues. They were going back and forth about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
To this day, well, maybe President Obama and I can't even say that because Mitt Romney started getting personal, and then maybe him and Obama and McCain, that was a good debate also. Because they kept it kind of civil. But the last good one might have been 30, 40 years ago. Everybody else is going. They're just going in different directions with
talking about
personal,
your mama, talking about your da, da, da. Listen, we all
you
make
said
mistakes.
this and you said that. Let's
We
go
all
on the
make
record.
let's argue our ideas. I'm not going to talk about your son. I'm not going to talk about what I'm saying. Let's argue our ideas. Hey, listen, this is what my plan would look like. I think that it would help the American people. Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? You say, well, okay, all right, I like that idea, but I think that we can do this. Now we're coming to something where we can. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I win or lose. I don't care. I just want to try to make the country better. That's all
It's some way
I don't need the power.
Even in a loss, it's some way that you can contribute.
Right.
Even in a loss, and like I said, what we just seen last year, that was garbage, man. Hey, taking a loss is the American
very divisive. Way. Yeah, it's very divisive. It's the American way. Just call it what it is. Just
go with it and doing all this. I'm not going to do this, and he didn't win the election. And the people spoke, man. That's what character comes in. Hey, you know what? Here you go. I lost. Hey, maybe I can get you next time, but good. Hey, I'll do whatever I can for the country and all this. But that didn't happen. And it's like 300 years that happened. Hey, you know what? I catch you. You got it this time. You're the better man this time. My hats is off.
That's it.
That's always been the American way. Now it's not.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, well, this is, and the conspiracy theories and everything like that. Listen, if you went to the court and the court said it's nothing, then it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a mystery to me, because for me, President Joe Biden is the most popular president ever in existence. More people came out to support Joe Biden than they did
Well,
President Obama. Now I know
yeah,
that
yeah.
it more so came out because they just didn't really like President Trump. I understand.
But
But the
that goes
votes
back to
came. It
character.
happened.
That goes back to
Right.
character.
It
That
happened.
goes back to because every other Republican on the ticket won but him. So
Right.
that goes back to, so how could it be a fake election when everybody else did good in your party? They did good.
Yeah.
They did excellent. Matter of fact. So how
Hmm.
so you're trying to say that if yours is no good, then neither is theirs.
Right.
And they would, I think they gained 5 seats in Congress or 6 seats in Congress, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So if yours if it's not valid, then that means you got to throw away their win too.
Yeah.
See, that's why if it went to court, then the whole thing is no good
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
side. So again, that's character. That has nothing. That has character.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, they assume that I'm African American, so they assume that I'm Democrat. And I said, no. Well, I voted for the first Bush. I was a military man. I voted for him. He had a
Hmm.
good argument. Hey, this is what can I really say? You know,
Yeah.
there were some Republicans that I felt for, and my district, helped me with my veterans issues. I
Yeah.
voted for. I
Yeah.
sent the letters out. Hey, they helped. They did anything for veterans, and that was on the Republican side.
Yeah.
So Texas lets you vote. You can split the ticket. That's what I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Because I want to call myself independent.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to the character thing.
Yeah.
We go back to the character thing. To me, that makes a lot to me. I don't care what you are, who you are, where you come from.
Right.
If you're a jerk, you're a jerk,
Yeah.
and don't expect my support.
And
And
we
people
can't
want
kind of sugarcoat it. We have to just call it what it is.
it,
You know what
it
I'm
is
saying?
what
Just
it
call it
is.
what it
Yeah.
is. Just call it what it is.
If my family or I can't
Yeah.
put my niece and daughter in a room with you, then I'm not gonna vote for you. You know, I know you have a propensity to touch women and all that stuff here.
Hmm.
A D and a R. Then
Yeah.
Clinton and Trump. I'm not putting my daughter in a room with you
Yeah.
because you have this. You can't keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of misnomers and a lot of women. Oh, all men are like that. All men are not like that.
Yeah.
And I've been in locker rooms before. I've been in military locker
Yeah.
rooms. Dudes don't get down like that
Yeah.
because most guys got a mom or sister.
Yeah.
And somebody does start talking like that, they're gonna get checked real quick, or somebody's gonna say, you know what, that person's full of because there's no way in the world that you're getting down like that.
Yeah.
No way in the world. You can't, as another man, you can't. All of this is talk.
Yeah.
You're not
I'm with
blasting
you.
like that.
I'm with you.
You're just not. And like I said,
Hmm.
most people don't understand that. When you're around a good group of men that are working hard, they look at people like that. It's like, wait a minute. I got a mom and sister. How dare you come here and run your mouth like that?
Yeah.
Or yeah, he's just full of whatever. We're gonna listen to him, but we know he ain't really doing nothing.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I'm with you. I totally understand that. I just wish that we could get to a place where we can actually just individually think about things and process information and
Yeah.
just
See,
where we can, yeah, we
you
can just
hit it.
talk it out.
We
Yeah.
don't
Well,
process information no more. You hit it right on the head. We don't.
yeah.
It's a surface level thing. That's it. Hey, the first headline, everybody's, instead of digging in deep and digging in this, and like I said, I call a lot of flag. Well, a lot of veteran guys. Oh, you don't like Trump as a Republican? No, I said I remember I grew up in New York. He was a crook. Him and
Yeah.
his father. That's why I don't like him.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like him. I said because of the history. I said I know the history of him.
Yeah.
That's why. It has nothing to do with his party. If he was a Democrat, I wouldn't like him because I know
Yeah.
what he was capable of.
Yeah.
He does funny things with the money, does this, does that, and he discriminates quite a bit, or he's with the flavor of the month. So,
Right.
if it ain't about him, he don't like you.
Right.
You ain't on 6-7 figures, he don't want to talk to you.
Right.
You ain't investing in his little thing. He's a showman and a con man. That's
Yeah.
all he's ever been.
Yeah.
So to me, it had nothing to do with the party because, like I said, I voted for certain Republicans, especially in this area, that helped me out. So it's just the character of this dude, And then, like I said, the same thing with the 2016 election and this election. This is what America can't do better than this. Both of them. We can't do better than this.
That's what I say. I mean, I like a lot of people from, both sides. I like to hear good arguments. I like to hear what people have to say. For me, I don't know. Some people might not agree. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I liked her. I liked
Yeah.
her because she was in the military, and I can understand
Yeah.
her. You know what I'm saying?
They put people to the back like that. Same thing with the governor from South Carolina, Nikki Haley. She was strong, she was good.
I
And
liked her.
then she get in line with Trump, and now she's backtracking.
Yeah,
She
I
had
can't.
good moral standards. She
That's
was
why
solid,
I say you
and then she
can't
started
really.
backtracking. You
Yeah,
can't
you
tell
can't
yourself
really
like that. Yeah.
just stand up for what you believe in. Listen, just because you're in my party doesn't mean I have to like you. Okay,
Or agree with
listen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, well, we always got to match. Da da da. No, if you have your personal opinion about somebody, just share it. It's okay. It's
it.
okay.
Well,
It's 2022. You're not gonna like everybody.
well,
Okay.
I mean, here's a tidbit of history. It was mostly when Nixon did what he did. It was mostly the Republicans and people in his party say, "Hey, man, I think you better go ahead and sign that."
Yeah.
You know, when there's always been scandals with congressmen and all that, and then people in the party say, "Hey, come on," and the speakers say, "Come on in office. Hey,
Yeah.
here's your resignation thing right here." You know, now you got people saying so much outlandish stuff doesn't even make sense. I
Yeah.
mean, it's childish. You know, it's setting the country back, and it's
Yeah.
like, how did you even get elected? You know, what are you here for? To
Hmm.
make outlandish statements? So that guy in
When
Florida,
when
in
President
Pittsburgh,
Biden, President Biden, he's comparing the getting vaccinated, comparing that to like the Civil War and stuff like that. Come on, bro. You know what does that mean? You know what I'm
no,
saying? Like
there's no comparison. I mean,
it's like, are you serious? You're really going to sit here and tell the American people that if you're not getting vaccinated, you are standing there on the side of, like a racist, pretty much,
well,
or racism.
I think he could have said that in a better way because he should have said, our history. What have we always done in the past? With polio and chickenpox and the measles. That's what he should have brought up.
Yeah,
I
but it's
never even
like,
brought that up. He never even brought it
listen,
up.
they're the president. They have to have better writers than this. You know what I'm
That-
saying?
Well,
Like, if you're just
he's
reading
been
off
known
a
to go off the
speech,
cuff. Yeah, he's been known to go off the cuff quite a bit.
yeah,
But that's always who he's been. And like I said, even when he was a senator and all that, I was never really crazy about him. It's just like I said. There's some things as far as crime bills and all that. Him and President Clinton put out there that they're
mm-hmm,
still trying to fix today.
yeah,
So it hurt a lot of African American communities, brown communities. 20 pounds of weed, you get a life in prison or 3 strikes and you're out, which is stupid. You know,
yeah.
I think there was
Who
a guy
creates
in
that?
California.
Three
So
strikes and you're out. Three
well,
strikes.
there was a guy in California. I think he went to prison. He had whatever.
Oh.
So this might have been 20 years after he did that.
Yeah,
He put a candy bar in his pocket, did something stupid.
yeah.
So that was his third strike, even though he hadn't been in prison for 20 years.
Wow.
He had been living a good life.
Yeah,
He got 8 years. Well, he got 25 to life in prison. So, these are the things that Bill Clinton and Joe Biden sponsored. And Joe Biden said, well, he's been trying to figure out whole political career how to fix that.
yeah,
That bill that they put out was horrible.
yeah,
And look what it affected brown people.
yeah,
So I mean, there's things in history. Like I said, I try to tell people, "You're gonna sit down and talk to me." I'm not just gonna lean one way. I'm just not gonna do that because there's some good things and bad things in both parties, and
yeah,
that was a bad thing in that party. And
yeah.
then Clinton liked to touch the women. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm sitting here. I'm gonna take it from both angles. Sometimes our party has a good stretch. Sometimes the Democrats have a good stretch. And the
Mm-hmm.
Republicans are having a bad stretch. Well, that's what we're kind of in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's switch.
I just want people to work together. It just
That's it.
makes so much sense.
It just
What party you in? Oh, I say, hey,
no,
listen,
man.
listen. I want people to do well. I want everybody to do
Do
well.
well. Today we had a little tragedy in Pittsburgh. Some people that got hurt in that bridge collapse. Are they worrying about who's a Republican or Democrat?
No.
There's loved ones in the hospital right now waiting on them. Nobody's caring about that. All they want is that bridge to be fixed. And the next bridge that they go over, they don't make sure that one collapsed.
Yeah.
So the money's being held up.
Yeah.
This little garbage that they're doing, the money's being held up.
Yeah.
And what's going down in Congress and Senate, I don't see it getting much better. I think it's always going to be around 50-50. That's why it's the same thing. Somebody's going to have just a slight edge. Well, if somebody just has a slight edge, that means somewhere the bill's going to get held up. So it's 50-50 Republicans.
I just can't. I can't. I can't.
Nobody. I don't see it being a clear advantage anymore. I just don't
can't.
see it.
Like, I think that people should have the right to win an argument even
Yeah,
if it doesn't matter. Like if you have a good argument and you have a good, then let's just agree. Let's
yeah,
not say, hey, just because they're voting yes, I'm gonna vote no. That's garbage. That's trash
it
to me.
is, and it hurts. Like I said, it hurts everybody on the level, especially young folks.
Yeah.
It really hurts them because they're the ones that are trying to get out of here and all this college debt, no
Yeah.
scholarships. You know,
Hmm.
everybody's not going to be a ball player. Everybody's not going to be a, you know. So what type of scholarships are available for those the artistic people, the people that
Well,
want to be creative? You know, what type of incentives are there for them? You know, nobody comes to the community and say, hey, we're going to recruit artists or we're going to recruit musicians. You know,
hmm
that's gone. That used to happen. It's gone. So you know,
well,
like we're
what we
talking
really
about
need to investigate is why the cost of tuition goes up.
every
And
year,
you know what I'm
every
saying? And if the cost of tuition is going up, does that mean that the job income is going up? Or like
you know,
what is it? Because your professor, I tried to actually map this out. Because if a professor gets paid maybe $100,000 a year, right? But he has a classroom full of students that pay $50,000, $60,000 a year.
each one.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, that's a semester. That's depending on what school you at. That's a
a
semester.
semester. Exactly. What? Because it doesn't pay for your books, doesn't pay for your living,
Mm-mm.
right? It's just paying for you to have a seat there per semester. And
Well,
then,
well, this is why I'm mad about everybody talking about the athletes need to get paid. First of all, see, this is where I'm upset at. Oh, the school makes all that money, whatever, whatever. Whatever. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Now, your son and daughter to play
mhm,
athletics, they just got between $250,000 to $450,000 free ride.
yeah,
Okay. Now, if they need to work something out with the NAACP about how getting food and all that, but your room's paid for, your books
everything's
paid
paid for.
for. So what do
Hmm.
you need more money for? So what about my kid that's going to school?
That's a
You
different
understand me? He's not going to make $2 million off name like an engineer. He's going to be in debt. So
right.
not only that, you got a free scholarship. Now you're getting $2 million on top of that.
Yeah.
So how do we feel as parents that got to put our kids in school?
Mm.
See what I'm saying? You double dipping.
Yeah.
If you just get your degree, you're gonna make money wherever you're going. Even if
Well,
you play on a
then they
football
should say,
team.
hey, listen, okay, it's either you decide to make money or we're going to give you a free
But but,
scholarship. You
but you
can't
know
have
what?
both.
That's what's getting these young kids that are doing that. That's what's getting ready to happen. What they get the college is getting ready to say to them, well, you know what? Oh, you got that $2 million. Well, we're
Yeah.
not gonna cover your books or dorm no more. To me, that's what they should do.
That's exactly what
Make
they should.
make them become adults.
Yeah,
So you know
absolutely.
what? We're only gonna pay 75% of your tuition instead of the
Yeah.
100% ride that you got.
Yeah.
So now you need to come out, and that might start happening. You need to come out your pocket.
Yeah.
Because everybody's saying, oh, yeah, they make all this money. Okay, yeah, the football teams make all that money, but they got to pay the faculty.
Yeah.
They got to upgrade their facilities.
Yeah.
You understand me? They got to pay everybody down to the gardener.
Yeah.
People and the professors. People don't understand it. Oh, well, the
Yeah.
college boys make a lot of money. But they got to maintain the university and
Yeah.
they got to maintain certain standards before they get money from the government.
Yeah.
So
That's
them people are not putting the money in their pocket. They show you where they're spending it. You know, the president, his salary is $350,000 a year, the university president. So they
yeah.
got to pay him.
Yeah.
Then the guys up under him are making six figures. You
Yeah.
know, men and female, they're making six figures.
Yeah.
After that director is probably making $1 million and some change. You know, so I mean, that money's accounted for. Then the football programs got to pay for the other programs
Yeah.
because they're the money makers. So they got to give a piece off to the basketball team, to the volleyball team. So
Hmm.
they're all pulling from that budget. Everybody's pulling from that budget.
Yeah.
So it's not what people think. Oh, well, football teams make much money so they can play the players. No, man. Everybody's pulling from that budget.
Yeah. And that's a lot of scholarships. A lot of scholarships. A lot of people getting free rides.
So how do you think
Ain't
they got to
having.
pay? They got to fundraise or they got to have a football game. They got to
Hmm.
pay for that. You know, and they paying for other kids that are not on the football
Right.
team. So you
Hmm.
know that money's being accounted for. You know, yeah, they got to keep that money for a rainy day also. So I mean, I
Yeah.
understand that point. But again, certain demographics come into this with this attitude. You know, well, wait a minute, you're getting a free ride.
Well, I think that that brings me to another point. It's like, when is enough enough? It's never going to be enough.
Yeah, you know, don't get me
If
wrong. I love athletics, but when I hear these guys talking about, oh, I'm away from my family and all that, well, there's nothing you can tell me about that because I was in the army. There's
yeah,
nothing, and I didn't make that type of money.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to even hear that garbage. They're
yeah,
paying you to work out. They're paying you to do this. And if you're in college, you got the best facilities and the best medical staff.
yeah,
You ain't paying for nothing. Okay, you're a little hungry. You need a little spending money. Well, you know what?
Guess what? They gonna pay for you. Wherever you go to a restaurant, they're gonna say, man, just give us a picture,
But
man.
wait,
Boom.
this what you call a $20 handshake. But
Yeah.
again, like I say, I'm watching these guys in college basketball, whatever, and they got sleeve full of tattoos and all that. I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute, man. Y'all ain't got enough money. I know that's at least $2,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
got your hair all braided up. That costs money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So what are y'all talking about? Y'all broke. What
Yep.
are we talking about?
And they're the good kind of
Somebody's
broke,
giving you
really.
that. Somebody's giving you that. Because like I
Yeah,
said,
they're the good
that's
kind of broke.
$2,000 worth of work. That's when you see all them tattoos, that's
Yeah.
about two grand.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Yeah, there was a story. Who was telling me? Maybe was this you telling me? Somebody was telling me this. Okay. It was a Georgia player. Okay. People go up to him and randomly give him $500, $1,200, just all cash. Boom. Here you
Handshake,
go.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Other people who go into college, ain't nobody going up to you $500, $1,200, $1,500. You got to work a little bit on the side to even get your meal, you
Yeah.
know? And then after college, I got a good friend of mine. He's a dentist. He told me that his student loans was over $2 million.
Yeah. He's a doctor,
$2 million.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't no way. Ain't because that's what really needs to be investigated. Is why is the price so high? It shouldn't be that high.
To me, I think those are the ones that need the free rides. Is if you really gonna, if you get to a certain, let's say you're going to be a doctor and you do make it to medical school,
Yeah.
Then a certain amount of your debt needs to be, as far as you go, a certain amount of that debt needs to be canceled.
Yeah.
Now, if you finish the whole program,
Mm-hmm.
those are the guys that need the free rides. Those, to me, the doctors, the nurses,
Yeah.
let's give them some type of incentive.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they're dropping out, they're quitting left and right because the COVID is just an overburden.
Yeah.
And everybody says thank goodness for first responders, and I'm saying to myself, hope they don't do them like they did us.
Yeah.
Veterans. I hope they don't. They're saying thank you now, but then 2 years from now they don't forget about you.
That's what happens. That's what happens. I mean, honestly, yeah. A news line comes out. Guess what? All policemen are bad.
Yeah,
Everybody who's a policeman
and
bad.
it's just there's a certain amount, and like I said, now you got
Yeah.
we might deviate from the story a little bit. Now you got these guys that ambushing police. Well, you know what? That's
Yeah.
the
That's
police
terrible.
toughen up again. So a few you're gonna make it bad for everybody else. So what we thought we were gonna gains we were getting out of police reform, if
Mm-hmm.
these guys keep doing this to the cops, they're gonna go back to doing it.
Yeah.
They're gonna go back to the way they were. I mean, you know what? I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. Like you said, what happened in New York, and there's 3 of them that just happened in Houston, and another one in Houston. I mean, come on, man. Now there's lawlessness. I mean, I don't agree with what all the police do, but I also understand there's some good guys on the force. The majority of them,
Yeah.
but ambushing them and doing a shooting them, that makes it bad for everybody else.
Yeah. There was an
That makes that
officer
cop have a trigger finger when he pulls you over for a ticket. That makes, come on, man. And the people in the community got to say something about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Well, some cops do we don't like, but hey, you thugs and all that, don't do that, because
Yeah.
they're gonna go right back to being heavy-handed if you keep doing that. And if you know somebody that's doing that, turn his ass in. Pardon my French. Turn his ass in. The community got to stop this. To me, well, snitches. I'm a snitch. Come on, man.
I'm a civilian. I'm telling them everything.
I'm not going to jail for nobody.
I ain't no gangster. I ain't gonna try to pretend to be.
Oh man, if I see something wrong, I'm gonna say something about it.
Absolutely.
What
Hey,
code
Joe.
speech?
Hey, did you see something? Yeah, I seen it. Yeah, the guy was right here.
Man,
That was him.
That was him right there.
That was him right there. He did it.
You
I
call
seen him.
you call me whatever. This is free America. You want to harass me at the house? I'll sell my house and move somewhere else. I got the right to go wherever I want to go. I mean, that just they're not doing nothing to me. I'll just sell it and go somewhere else. I mean, what do they think they're doing to me?
Oh, yeah, and I think it's a culture thing. It's
watch
that's
too much
the crazy thing.
And you see
snitches get stitches.
And you see that when them gangsters get in that box with them detectives, they tell everything. So
everything.
So what are they then out here enforcing that, whatever? And as soon as them detectives come get you,
mm-hmm.
they always telling each other. So they always have. So,
Yeah.
why you out there believing that stuff for?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was crazy. We got off topic for a minute, but yeah, I just had to speak on that because, my heart goes out for these police officers that are being ambushed and being killed and being shot behind,
For no reason.
guard for no reason.
Just because
That
you put
heart
on a
really goes
uniform.
out. Yeah, just because, you're proving a point. What point are you proving? It's just, come on, man. You make it bad for everybody else. You make it bad for that little cop that's he's here this, now he got an itchy trigger finger, and it goes right back to unnecessary shootings because you moved for your phone.
Yeah.
And he shot you. Well, yeah, he sees that people are ambushing police. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's nervous.
Yeah.
Makes it
I
bad
would
for
be.
everybody else. And
I
like I
would
said,
be.
people in these communities,
Yeah, absolutely.
if they know who these guys are, hey man, get them out of here.
Yeah. I think that, and I don't know what to do as a society. Like, do you keep somebody behind bars 15 years, 20 years, like for actions like that? Like, somebody, and I know they're young. I know they're young. And a young person's mindset is different.
Yeah,
You don't think of the consequences.
but
You
you know
don't
what
think
right,
of how
but
you
you know what right and wrong is though.
I understand.
You pick as soon as you pick that gun up, and you ain't supposed to have it.
Well, if you're 16, 17, 18, you got a lot of pressure because maybe you're in a gang and they say this is what you got to do in order to hang with us. It's a different mindset. People don't want to I right now standing I know that okay, I ain't going to go with the crowd. But when you're
Yeah,
younger,
but you
it
know what?
seems like the crowd that's all it is.
I want to speak on that right now because I think that in generations now, there's still racism and still poverty. Let's not get that wrong.
Right.
But technology has come along now.
Yeah.
Everybody got a cell phone. Everybody can get access to YouTube. Everybody can get an education. So somewhere along that young man or young woman's life, somebody has told them you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
They make a choice now.
Yeah.
They make a choice because you can make that choice to turn around and get out of poverty. Like I said, you can get education on YouTube. This professor's teaching free classes on YouTube.
Yeah.
You understand me? So you can make a choice.
Yeah.
Now, even though your circumstances around you, but somebody's got a cell phone.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a cell phone and they all hooked to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice now.
Mm.
It's a choice now. And I'm almost sure that the young person was in school, whatever it is, somebody said, hey, that ain't the way to go.
Yeah.
More than once. There's somebody in that family, more than once. Even if their parents are on drugs, whatever, there's a positive member in that family. Hey, you can't do this.
Yeah.
They know that. Now should you charge them as an adult? That depends.
Yeah.
But once they cross that threshold, 18, 19, yeah, hey man, you try to take somebody's life, or you do take a life.
Yeah.
Hey man, you got to go behind bars for a little bit, and maybe for a minute.
Yeah.
Is that person redeemable? I don't know.
That's what I don't know. I don't know what do you
it's
call
what
redeemable?
they choose.
Is it like, and I think that's what a lot of people say. Well, if you committed this crime, you're 14, 15 years old, by the time you're 25, are you going to even remember what you did 14, 15 years old?
Yeah, you will. But what do you take
will
up
it
to that
be
point?
like, will it be the person that you were supposed to be, or the person that you've grown and matured to be? I had a friend, he was like 13, 14 years old. He got locked up for selling drugs, missed out on his teenage years, released when he was 22. And, and so much is missed only because he was just trying to fit in with the crowd back then. No reason for him to sell drugs. No reason. Mama's working, everything is good.
Yeah,
But
you just want to live.
because you want to go ahead and fit in with everybody. Look like the cool guy, look like the thug, look like the gangster. But now his whole life is before him. I don't know what.
And the thing when what I can remember back then also, you was a juvenile. Your record was sealed. That's before the internet.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that you did that.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that you did that.
Yeah.
Now with the internet, people can find it. People can find it. So it's not a secret anymore,
Yeah.
And like you said, that messes up in this era, that messes up your life.
Yeah.
Because the internet sleuths, they get on there. Oh, well, you were arrested for this, that. They're not even supposed to have that information.
Right.
Your employer not even supposed to have that. The juvenile is sealed.
Yeah.
So for some strange reason, they got it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different things, like you say. Most people are redeemable, but you have one bad apple. Sometimes I watch these crime shows. Sometimes it's just people that are just pure evil.
Yeah.
Very few, but they're out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are the last ones to get caught.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. Well, I know I done kept you here for about 2 hours, probably.
Man, it was a good conversation. It always is. It always is, man. I'm not doing anything anyway. I'm retired these days, so hey, we want to spark it up again, like next Friday or next Saturday or Thursday.
That's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be here, man.
Yeah,
there's always topics going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you got to do things too. You got to sell cars and real estate too. So
I'm looking at the time like, dang, it's already okay. People calling me and texting me and okay. All right, Uncle.
All right, man.
Any final words for everybody?
Oh man, everybody just got to keep their head up, man. And my thing, everybody is just be independent. Be an independent thinker. Be independent. Process and think and research on your own. Don't be fooled by all the stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Don't choose a side. Again, research, make an educated opinion, and then make your choice. We're all in this together. There's no one side or another. My days in the military, we were all in this together. Yeah. So, I hope that people can do that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
And man.
We'll set it up again.
All right, we'll do it again.
All right.
All right, nephew. I love you.
All right, love you too.
Later, man.
All right.
All right, later.